Okay, so after we start the show, I'm going to make sure we're streaming audio to make sure everything's working fine. Let's start the show now.
What's up, InnerTubes? What's up, YouTube? Let's check in our volume. We are back. We are not going to front. We are back. That's right. So we're checking our audio, make sure we're good. JJ, what's up, man? I think I'm hearing some stuff. I'm hearing people. I'm hearing music. I'm hearing voices. I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me. Yeah,
I feel like everything's working.
Yeah, everything's working. Maybe it just needed a week break. It just needed a break. We took a small break. We had a very long shoot that happened to coincide with my son's high school graduation.
Graduations and pizza never stop.
Yeah, that's right. It does not stop. We got to be at the HEB Center, which is cool. We had a lot of fun events there. It's our AEW go-to. But yeah, we're back. We got a good show today. We're going to be talking about some... Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. That's right. We're talking about Obi Wan Kenobi. I can't believe we waited so long for this, and now we're halfway through.
There's only 6 episodes?
Yeah, there's only 6.
I guess they're an hour long though. They're pretty.
Yeah, they are beefier episodes than most, so that is the good news. So we're gonna have my very dear, close, personal, longtime friend Wayne Knight, professional wrestler, Star Wars historian. He is, before Wikipedia, we would drive for hours and hours on the road, and he would tell me all about other Star Wars content outside the film world, which I didn't even know. Now it's considered Legends. It's not canon, but he's going to dial in and guide us through that. But before we get to that, we got to be talking about AEW Double or Nothing. They had a big, huge pay-per-view. I guess this is their WrestleMania, and we've begun Summer of Punk 3. This is the 3rd time we had a Summer of Punk. The first Summer of Punk was Ring of Honor. Second Summer of Punk, WWE. Third Summer Punk, now AEW. He is the new World Heavyweight Champion. And it was a great show.
You said you didn't get to see it though.
I got to see a very fractured version.
You saw the truncated, sped up YouTube version.
I saw, like NFL has their not Red Zone, but the other one where you just get to see the plays. I got to see that with basically the spots. So, but everything, I mean, it was pretty killer. Now you've gone back and watched and I've watched tons of highlights. it was a great show. And then we also have we got Top Gun Maverick we're going to talk about. That's right. Give me some of those. I wish they made Goober a great version of Remember Berries. It was all about the nostalgia with Top Gun Maverick, which I'm not a huge Top Gun mark, and I'm by no means a Tom Cruise mark, but I was like, okay, I'll check this out, and man, it was freaking good.
I feel like there hasn't been Top Gun marks since about 1988. Yeah. I don't think there was any around, and all of a sudden they came out. It's like, there's another Top Gun, and they just all came out.
Out of nowhere. It's just like...
It's like a huge opening for that movie.
It was the biggest Memorial Day opening of all time. Like, this, not pre- and post-pandemic. Because, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of movies that end up bombing, they end up bombing during this end of May. Like the first weekend of May, usually, that's your money spot, which is now the Marvel spot. But then everything that happens in between there struggles. So, look, he had a lot of incidents with his, his couch jumping and his, his minor degree in pharmaceuticals for women post, he had a lot of stuff that he's been trying to shake for years. And people forgot all about it and just like, oh, he's really flying this plane? Yeah, let's check it out.
And I think folks love the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
So if you're a mark for those, you're like, well, let's see what he can do with Top Gun now. Because it's the same writer, right?
Yeah. Yep. Same deal. And just, he's basically now the U.S. version of Jackie Chan, where you expect Tom Cruise to do all stunts. And he writes it into his contract. Look, I know you're going to try to screw me out of doing my stunts, but no, I am doing my own stunts.
His life has to be at risk for like a certain percentage of days on the movie, or he gets paid double.
It does feel, and I want to go back and see it in like the 4DX, because apparently if you go to see the D-box seats, or you really do get that, because all these shots were actually done really in these planes. So it's good stuff. And of course, we got beer. We got a weird beer from our friend Primo, or our familia, our Primo. He's everybody's Primo. We got a weird beer.
It's a weird beer in a bottle with a cork in it. So
weird beer in a bottle. Yeah, it's gonna be good. So but right now I'm just really enjoying this. Enjoying being back in the studio and drinking a podcast. These are great. I'm gonna start canning those up and selling them on our Patreon. If you sold these and just made it, I would if you poured that in some kind of Starbucks can, I would be like, yep, you got that. I mean, you nailed this recipe. I mean, unlike our, what do we call it? The milk Isley. Man, that one struggled. It was rough. We saw double after that. It looked the part, but man, it punched. Where this one is just like, yeah, you can make some money with this.
This is like go back to work juice.
Yeah. This is definitely some go back to work juice. So let's start off with the AEW. Let's start off with the Lucha. It's Wednesday. We got a big night. There's a lot of big news coming out of Dynamite. Plus, it was just a packed card. And I don't know about you, but I'm just a huge mark for their media scrums. Like, I set the reminder, and if I fall asleep, I will watch the entire media scrum the next day, like immediately when I wake up. And
because they've done these differently, where they kind of book them as a shoot. They're shoots.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it really makes it feel like it's a legitimate sporting contest, which it in a way it is, right? These guys are competing with each other. Just you can have predetermined outcomes for the actual matches, but if you listen to Punk, it was just, I don't know. It's real, and when wrestling is real, it just feels good, and the media scrum really adds to that. And when that, I don't know which reporter it was, when that reporter asked CM Punk to comment on Eric Bischoff saying that CM Punk was the biggest financial flop, when Tony Khan went into freaking rooster mode, and there's already memes for it. He went into freaking. And I was like, oh, Punk was cursing. But then I was like, oh, I can't believe he's cursing in front of the boss. And Tony Khan's like, that's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. And he just started like, sorry, now I dropped. He just started like flame warring and just like, oh, and he started giving like legit numbers of like how CM Punk really did affect the bottom line and get them into the black. And he was defending him on there. I was like, this is great. This is great. This is what I want to see.
Tony Khan's a hothead.
He really is.
Like he's like blows his top tech boss.
Yeah.
That you hear screaming in the other office.
Yeah, he can. I mean, he seems like he's very polite to everyone on the camera, but and he was even nice about it, but he was just flipping out on that reporter and just like, and then even CM Punk says, we're not talking about that anymore. He cut him off. He's just like, let's go to a new spot because we're not cutting that off. And that was the big news. And the other big news coming out of that was the MJF walkout.
That kind of overshadowed the whole show, honestly.
Or did it? And I think it helped the buy rate. And we're going to find out here in 45 minutes because MJF is going to be on Dynamite, and they actually announced it. So
he's going to be on?
He's going to be on Dynamite tonight. So I'm really curious, but
JJ, let us know what's happening.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We might have to throw that on there, but it was will he or won't he show up, which I think it was great for the buy rates.
Definitely, but I feel it was a weird energy to start the show.
Well, because we were debating if it was a work or it's a shoot, but then the way Tony Khan handled saying I'm not going to comment on that, then I realized, oh, this is a shoot because I feel like as good as Tony Khan is as promoting his stuff, what he's probably not good at is working the crowd. Like, I never want to see Tony Khan, the evil promoter, because I don't think he's going to be as good. I just want to see Tony Khan, the passionate fan who's turned into this great promoter that's created an alternative brand. So when he really, and then he threw that shot on there, it's just like, and this was later on in the scrum, and when I do my contract negotiations, I do it with honor. And I feel like he was taking a shot at MJF on that because everyone knows. And it was great. MJF was just like, January 2024, it's going to be the biggest bidding war. And that's cool. And I feel like if that was where he was going, he may have pulled the trigger too early.
Can we focus on this for a little bit? Because I feel like this needs to get talked about, this entire thing that happened, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Because my first instinct was, yes, this is a work. Okay, Sasha and Naomi just walked out. Tony Khan's smart. He's playing up on that. You know what I mean? That's already in the atmosphere. So why not have something with that over here? MJF's a heel. He could do a dick move like that, right? It sounded good. Then it started coming out that it wasn't so much of that, and it was probably real. And it's kind of like, well, I was like, that's really shitty, right? It's really if that's a fact, then it's like, yeah, MJF just comes up as a huge dick, in real life.
Yeah,
right?
no, and that's what I mean. It
is like Wardlow's big. It was a 2-year build for that.
Yeah.
Or more, or year and a half, 2 years, whatever, and to screw him over when it's finally his night. It's like, that sucks. That's really crap. That your coworkers would hate you.
Yeah. Right, because MJF got over being MJF, but he also got over being MJF by other people helping him to continue to be MJF. So like you said, I didn't realize how hot Wardlow was. I was like, I even felt like they kind of pulled I told you this. I feel like they kind of pulled the trigger early on the Wardlow experiment. Like, I feel like they needed to do a little bit more build, but I stand corrected because he was uber over, and give it to MJF. He came in here and he did the job. He did the duties, and he went in there and he worked that angle the right way he should have worked it. But the whole behind the scenes stuff, I hope it's not true. I hope it was somewhat of a semi work. And look, I'm not saying I do want to see the biggest contract negotiation between WWE and AEW closer to the end of the contract. Because guess what? If it happens now and he finds a way he's not going to get out of his contract. And WWE, they're already stacked to the gills. It would end up being a waste. It's not going to... If he wants to have that Chris Jericho moment of jumping to Monday Night Raw, or even Cody more recently, the Hardys when they did that, I think he would have had to wait that time. He would have had to wait closer to the end of the contract of the will they won't they. Because now if you do it, think about what happened to Bray Wyatt. Like, how much steam does Bray Wyatt's going to get a big pop when he comes back, wherever he comes back. But how big of a pop would he have when you were expecting him to come? I don't know. I think if that's what he was doing, I think it was a mistake. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just too hard of a... Is it really that bad of a place to work? Like, what happened that changed it?
Don't know, but I mean, he's definitely a top guy there. I guess the story says he wasn't. He felt he wasn't getting paid what he deserved, and I understand that. He's a big part of that show. He's one of the top guys. But
Well, yeah, there was a quote today too that's saying that Tony Khan said MJF was a huge part of AEW's growth, which he undoubtedly he was, right. He was one of the four pillars. He was one of the pillars, and you look at him and he's an AEW guy. I don't care how many videos of Samoa Joe pushing him as an NXT security guard. That's now it's like a footnote. He's an AEW top heel guy that could now have a run with CM Punk for the Pretty Platinum.
So the whole time when this was going on, I was wondering in my head what you thought about this, but like this whole thing playing out, how does this affect Vince's opinion of MJF, right? Because this is a very much a not doing business kind of thing to do.
Yeah. That's my concern is it will, and everyone's like, Vince doesn't pay attention to anything going on anywhere, but the other people do, and other people are in Vince's ear. And yeah, if you're not going to do the time, if you're not going to do, honor your contract, it's right. It's the same thing when you want to beat somebody, you want to give them something because you want to make it feel like you're beating somebody. You don't want to just squat. That perception is reality. And I think it would negatively affect any kind of contract negotiations that you have going on there. Which that means is really, is he believing his own hype? And now he thinks that he can get away with, but you can be a great heel and the money drawer all you want, but in the end, you're going to still have to play ball, right? You still have to play ball for it to work. You can't go into business for yourself against the office. You can play the offices against each other, sure, but if you're going to walk out at one, why is the other one going to take a chance on you?
JJ says he wants to get paid like Adam Cole, Punk, and Joe are getting paid. He's arguably bigger than Cole and Joe in AEW. It's true. I mean, he's huge.
Accurate.
It's accurate, but yeah.
Yeah, and I can't argue with that. Now, if the play was to just work your way into getting an amendment to get a raise, then I can kind of support this. Then I can see that. So, and again, now you're talking about not MJF, the wrestler, you're talking about MJF, the person. And if you feel like you're not getting justly paid, then now I have a different perception of what's happening. Then I 100% support what he did because he proved his value by threatening and overshadowing everything that's going to happen on the show just with the will he or won't he. And now it could be argued he actually increased the buy rate just by doing that. So if that's why he did it and it wasn't a true, I want to get out of my contract, it's just I want to get a raise, then I support it as somebody who works.
Yeah.
Then I'm all for it. So if that's if he comes out, because look, I don't know. I mean, it's no secret that it definitely felt like Cody left over money. I don't think Cody left over creative. I don't think, he says one thing, but remember that one felt like a shoot promo that he did right before his match with Sammy, and we was talking about contracts, and he's like, and it's not the contract that I wanted, and he took that little bit of shot. It feels like it was more about money, and like JJ's saying, that these guys have that much value. I mean, and look, and Tony Khan, if you listen to Scrum, he clearly watches those quarterly ratings of like when people are spiking and when they're changing, when they're changing the stream and who's actually, and you can't argue with the facts. I agree with you. I think that MJF is bigger than Joe and Punk. I mean, not Punk, Joe and Adam Cole. I don't think he's bigger than Punk. I don't think anyone's bigger than Punk in AEW right now. Even Brian kind of takes a back seat to Punk, but
CM Punk's definitely more known in the mainstream.
Yeah,
and he was just on Mayans beating the shit out of somebody.
He was.
Yeah,
yeah. So, but if I think it's fair to say that I want to get paid as much money as Adam Cole, especially if he's one of the pillars. And look, to pull the curtain back a little bit, this happens all the time in this business on a lower scale. This used to happen all the time when we'd go work a territory and we'd go to like somewhere in East Texas and we'd start to draw an audience and we'd get a little bit of following. Then they'd bring in these bigger names and then they'd pay them more. But then you're like, wait a minute, we're the one that's been getting the crowd to grow to this point where you can afford to bring in one of those bigger names. Shouldn't we get a bigger piece of the pie? This is a standard tale in pro wrestling, but we're seeing it play out on a much bigger scale. And the hot take is, Tony Khan, if you're listening, I know you watch the show. We know you watch the show, and if you want to call in, we got this device you can call into. But I think you should pay MJF the money. Just give him a little bit of a raise, give him a little bit of a bump, because come January 2024, there's got to be
He's gone.
Yeah, there's a market.
He's gone.
There's a market for AEW to Cody talked about building. Everyone talks about opening the forbidden door. I built the forbidden door. And Cody Rhodes made the forbidden door go in two directions. And now he proved that there is an audience for those people to come from AEW to WWE with the same music, with the same vibe. And they're going to get. And honestly, if MJF would have showed up on Raw like any time right now, it would have had the same impact of Chris Jericho showing up on Raw after leaving Nitro, like right now.
Well, I mean, this is showing Vince's long-term strategy here, I think, a little bit. He let folks go to leave to AEW and just wait it out, and eventually they come back.
Yeah.
He buys them all back. They all go get over somewhere else, and they come back hot.
Like a Stephen King book, sometimes they come back. Oh man, yeah, and Cody came back, and he's the heir apparent to dethrone, the tribal chief.
Now if MJF is going to telegraph he's going to WWE, that'll just be a countdown, waiting for that moment to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
and the internet will be all over it, and then he'll drop on Monday Night Raw one night.
Yeah, dude, you're right. I mean,
a year and a half from now,
Jericho literally had a countdown, and everybody for weeks are like, "What are they counting down to?"
That was pre-internet when they needed an actual countdown.
Yeah.
When it was just tweets telling you what day it was.
Yeah. Now that countdown would be good, and I think it would be great. But I think Tony Khan should. I hope he does end up paying him the money and just let it play out, because you're going to benefit, because the more that MJF
because he's going to leave anyway.
Yeah,
he's going to leave.
And if you're going to sit now, the Vince move would be, I'm going to sit you on the bench and make people forget about you. That could happen too. I don't know. But Tony Khan doesn't seem like he's that kind of guy. He doesn't seem like a Vince kind of guy that would do that. Like I'm going to just bench you, like Punk was saying in the scrum, the weird politics for the sake of politics rather than just like everybody having fun. So
remember, Tony Khan's not even doing this for profit. He's just literally doing this because he wants for fun.
Because he enjoys it.
This is his hobby, is doing pro wrestling.
Yeah, so I think it's great. Here's what I would do if I was Tony Khan, besides pay the money. I would do the Vince McMahon where now, okay, this was a shoot. You win. I'm going to give you a raise, but we're going to keep doing business talking about this, and we're going to work it. We talk about working yourself into a shoot. Now shoot yourself into a work and have that where will he or won't he? Because that's great. When Brian Pillman, like we watched the episode of Dark Side of the Ring, when Brian Pillman did that and he was playing the WCW office and like, yeah, let's pretend I'm going to leave my contract and I'm not under contract to you. And then let me go to ECW and then let me talk to him. And the whole time he was working both offices, and then he ended up, I was trying to get out of my contract for real. And he became a star in WCW and ECW and WWE all within like a 6-month period. I was like, but that was great. Brian Pillman was so hot at that time. It was such a big deal. Both companies will benefit if they pull a quasi version of that angle. Both companies will benefit from it. And the sport will benefit from it. So I hope that's what they end up doing. So, sorry, wrong pipe.
JJ says he'll send MJF to NXT. I don't think you can go to NXT from AEW. I feel like it's like NXT to AEW than to WWE.
I don't even know if that really Yeah, I mean, that would...
What is going on NXT 2.0 anyway?
I don't know. I don't feel like there's anybody going in any direction.
Is Braun Breaker still there? Or did he move up already?
No, he's still there. I mean, he did have a match, I think, on Raw. But I feel like the revolving door that was NXT is gone. Like, now you're there in NXT, and you're just there. I don't feel like there's anybody moving up or down. I think they're just kind of limping it along as like a third brand. They lost that.
Every time I watch NXT, I have this feeling like it was shot on the same set where they shot Bozo the Clown.
Oh, because of the way the bleachers are.
Yeah, right? Doesn't it feel like the Bozo the Clown set?
It does.
And also has similar lighting.
It the color scheme, I guess I got over it, but I'm more of like when you watch that, they have some raw stars there, but now NXT, make no mistake, they're treating it like it's another brand, but it feels like even less than the minor leagues. There's a lot of raw green guys there. Now it feels like their FCW show before NXT. Like
It feels like
it's that third brand
it feels like when you go to Big Lots and you see those weird brands of chips, you know, that you've never heard of that brand at all, and then the flavor combinations are strange, like barbecue onion or whatever.
Yep, I totally see that. Is definitely the genericos are there, but the wrestling's not even bad. It's not even that the wrestling is bad. It just now it feels disjointed, where I felt before. Remember when they were talking about NXT and it got the app over, the WWE network was over because of NXT, and like, wow, this is a competitive third brand.
Remember we went to that first NXT show at the music hall, the one they had here, and that was like the first generation, and was like Bailey, Sasha, Alexa Bliss, like everybody, Enzo and Big Cass, like the entire that first class.
American Alpha, everybody was so over. That was an awesome show. Yeah, it was. I just don't feel like anybody's getting over like that in NXT now. Braun Breaker is probably just because of his name, and then they took the name away, and I'm not saying he can't work. Of course he can work, but you brought in Rick Steiner's son that looks like the Steiners. Of course he's going to get over. I mean, he can make it onto the main brand right now, but he didn't get over because of NXT. He got over because of who he is and what he does. Make no mistake. Don't come suplex me on my head. He can work, so...
What's up, Jason? Jason's here.
Jason, what's up, man? So let's go through the rest of the AEW card, because this card was stacked from pop. I mean, you're stacked when your buy-in match, which free on YouTube, is Hookhausen against Tony Nese and Smart Mark.
Do you feel like that belonged on the show?
That was originally part of the main card.
They had a long show. I feel like that could have made it onto the card.
He explained why on the scrum and it had something to do with they were really spaced out. He talked about the odds, and by him I mean Tony Khan. He talked about the odds of a Game 7, and it was such a hot Game 7. They didn't think it was going to go to that, so then they were trying to stretch it.
Oh, they were booking around Game 7.
Yeah, they were booking around Game 7, and he played the odds that he thought there was more of an odds of going against Golden State on a Game 6 on a Saturday night than the Boston-Miami game on a Sunday night, and he played the odds and he lost. Well, I don't think he lost, because I'm sure the buy rate, I don't know what the buy rate did, but he was tweeting like crazy, and he was telling people like crazy, come on over, this show is still going. So I think he was really playing towards somebody watch the game, and then they're going to tune into wrestling afterwards. So he basically gave you an entire card of wrestling after the game was over.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense to me, because I told you I was watching it. I was at my folks' house, and the Wi-Fi is terrible, so we couldn't really keep up with it. But the first part of the show just felt like it just didn't feel like a pay-per-view. The matches felt kind of small, even though you had Hardy Boys and
Bucks,
Young Bucks. But I don't really feel like that got built too well, Yeah. I think that was a little rushed, or they should have done Cornette's idea and built that from the day the Hardys came in. But anyway, after the Owen Hart Cup stuff, the show shoots off like a rocket. And the second half is great.
It was unreal, right? And yeah, and I think it had something to do with the way they stacked the beginning of the card. And
Here,
I think,
Podcat is demanding to come in the studio. Hold on one
yeah,
second.
bring him in. But I think Jeff Hardy was hurt, or there's something. Everyone was noticing that there was something off about Jeff Hardy that day, and he kind of ran through the crowd, and then he kind of ran back in. And it was still a great. I mean, it was still a great match, and I was actually surprised that it was actually the second match. But maybe it could have had something to do with him being hurt. I'm not 100% sure, but
He got like his bell rung like he did it here in Texas when he wandered into the crowd, right?
yeah, exactly. He did another.
Is that just, I mean, wear and tear? Is that wear and tear?
Yeah, I mean he's late. He's late 40s now, and I mean that guy takes some crazy bumps still, so I'm sure it's some wear and tear. He's still so over. But I mean, I think the Hookhausen should have been the curtain jerk on the main show. I think I would have put, I hate to say it. Oops, just watch my gimmick glasses. I hate to say it, but I think I would have rather seen the House of Black versus Death Triangle on the buy-in, and I would have had Hookhausen open up the card. And I know they had a big deal, right? They had Julie Hart, and they've been setting this up for a while that she was going to turn and become House of Black, and she looks, what an incredible look. She has a great
Good for her, yeah.
Yeah.
Get her out of that cheerleading gimmick. She's got something cool to do now.
Yeah, no, and I'm a fan of House of Black, but if I had my druthers, that would have been the buy-in, and Hookhausen would have been the opening match because, dude, they were over the entire time. And I think they finally redeemed and like, oh, man, maybe we shouldn't have squashed Danhausen like we did because he actually even got the fall, right? And they actually worked. And I just read this somewhere. It's just like when comedy works in wrestling, it works really well. And when it doesn't work, it fails really bad. And this is working to the point where you can see Hookhausen with the belts. Can you not see them with the tag belts?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Those guys are merch machines. Like, they just happen to get Hook, who got over organically.
If not, they need to create a belt for them.
Yeah, just give them a belt.
Because, yeah, totally. Like, I did see, like, because I was at my folks' house, and no one over there was really super into wrestling, but they did perk up when they saw Hook.
Oh, man.
Everybody when they saw Hook.
It's just that look is just that look that he has is so good, and he has the pedigree, and he's a legit, wrestler. And then you got Danhausen, the everyday man that basically grinded himself to get over. Like, he wasn't granted, and just
he tweeted himself over.
Yeah, he got himself over using every tool and he built this character. And if you go back and watch some of his old stuff, and you can see the beginnings of it and what it turned into. Man, he's just so over, and he's somebody that's a merch machine too. And I know that's why Tony Khan signed him, and plus he can work. Get these guys the belts. Don't wait too long like you waited too long for Jurassic Express. Give these guys the belts ASAP because they were over. And look, I'm a fan of Smart Mark, and it looks like he's losing Jade Cargill, but it looks like he's gaining another. Get somebody who can talk with these guys like Tony Nese who can't talk but have a look. Get back to 80s wrestling. Hercules Hernandez always had a manager because he couldn't talk. Those guys that have the great look, that's why you give them a manager so they don't have to talk. Even Bobby Lashley, MVP is so much better when he was... Bobby Lashley felt way more over because he was the Bobby Heenan to these guys who can't talk. And Tony Nese, like you said, I mean, I got nothing against him. He's a premier athlete, but we want to see a premier character on top of that athleticism. So have somebody come out there and talk for him. So, but I think it worked really well, and it had redemption, and it protected Tony Nese. Everybody was protected in this match, so that was a redemption for the buy-in, in my opinion.
No, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. Like, I can see why they did it as the opener. Sure. gets everybody on YouTube interested. Why not? You want to see what else is coming on this wild and crazy Double or Nothing show?
Yeah, and I can see Tony Khan's strategy because Danhausen is so over on YouTube. Maybe you're going to get a lot of searches.
Exactly.
So that was the guy to have in there. You know what they don't do anymore? Have like I would have did House of Black versus Death Triangle. Then I would have started the second match, and then saying we're going live to pay-per-view right now. Why don't they bring in pay-per-views hot like that? Or I'm sorry, premium live. No, this was a pay-per-view.
Super streams.
Yeah, super streams or premium live events, whatever WWE's call them. Super streams are better. But like a pay-per-view like this, bring it in hot. Like start it on YouTube and like, okay, man, this match is great, but we're going to pay-per-view now. So if you want to keep watching, you got to pay the money right now. Here's the link.
Yeah, they always have that break in there. I don't know. Maybe that's something mandated by the pay-per-view company so folks have time to grab their credit cards.
Yeah, I guess. But, man, that would be cool just to start it hot like that. And then just give somebody a chance to be, okay, half your match is going to be on the buy-in pre-show, but the other half's going to be on the pay-per-view. So, but we started off with what we expected. I think Tony Khan wanted to have no confusion and have the will he or won't he, and that's when people realized his work. When they opened up Wardlow, going over clean on MJF, it was very cool. They had
extremely clean.
Yeah, no,
super clean.
Yeah, I mean it was
a bit of a squash, right?
A little bit of a squash. I mean, it's still, it was MJF still trying to outsmart him is the only reason I wouldn't call it a full-on squash because he was still able to work his gimmick and basically finally get your hands on him, and that's when he started giving him the business. And I liked Wardlow had a great entrance because they had him locked in one of those confinement cells that they have for the people that are causing trouble or the gambling scammers or whatever. That was cool. I kind of like the no music gimmick. They've done that before with Dolph Ziggler, but for some reason it didn't work with Dolph. But it works really well with Wardlow because it's no music, and he comes out with all those cops, and he's in handcuffs, and then they have to like release him. So I feel like it works well. So I am going to miss that because he is now All Elite. They announced it, and they also announced today that he's getting some new music.
They're not sticking with the no music gimmick?
Nope. He's getting some new music.
Well, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough when you go from no music and then insert a song. Folks aren't going to buy into that right away.
Well, unless Jericho write the song. Listen to him on the scrum, and that's when you realize that's why everything he touches is gold because he really does pay attention to every single thing that's happening. So get Jericho to do it. JJ was saying the build was dumb for the BT. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. That BTE vlog, that build on there. But yeah, we should have Podcat as Tony's manager. That would be good. All right, so Wardlow went over clean with a symphony of power bombs, and MJF didn't. He sold it, and he did everything he was supposed to do. He
stretchered out.
He got stretchered out, which I thought was a good touch, really. So that way he doesn't have to worry about like not selling. He could just I can just lay here, and you guys can pull me out of here. So that's going to be good, and that's about 15 minutes we're going to be able to see. Yep. Then we had the Hardys went over on the Young Bucks. Did that finish surprise you?
No, I was expecting him to go over.
So I noticed, and Cody had this, and I wish Cody, now looking back, now that Cody's gone, they had this thing where the EVPs work hard to get their talent over rather than use their position to get themselves over, which is another issue that's always happened. Like, the booker's booking himself into the main event. But it worked really well for Kenny Omega. He was a hot champ. He booked himself, and they booked him into that. Although I don't know how much creative control the EVPs have anymore, but I really would have wished there would have been a little bit more of a build, and I was okay with the first match happening, but I would have liked something to happen that we would have got Bucks Hardy too. I feel like this was clean enough where you don't necessarily are going to get Bucks Hardy too, right?
Yeah, I didn't feel like it. Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of build for this. I don't know if you ever saw that episode of the Cornette Experience where he talked about how he would have booked the Hardys or Jeff Hardy showing up in AEW.
Oh, no, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a good episode. And his idea was great. His idea was really great. And he wanted to kick it off. He said he would have booked it from the get-go about Jeff Hardy being blocked from coming into AEW, and that Matt Hardy was pissed about it because somebody internally was blocking him from trying to get him blocked from coming over. Turns out it was the Young Bucks or whatever, and just starting it that way. And building off of that. But yeah, it felt a little bit anticlimactic, I don't know where the Bucks are as far as AEW is concerned. If they're somewhere where they're not happy, they seem to be on the back burner, company wise, right?
Yeah, I don't really know where do they go from here, because I don't think Jurassic they're setting up to lose their belt soon. Do you put it back on the Bucks?
No, I don't. I think there's too much other talent now. It's got to be like look at all these combinations we've got now. It'd be awesome on Keith Lee and Swerve. It would be awesome on Hookhausen. It would be awesome on FTR. Let them have double belts.
Yeah.
I think, like we've said it before, AEW tends to put the titles on late on folks. And I wonder if that had a lot to do with, there was pandemic, right? So a lot of things got thrown off schedule, but I think Jurassic Express was meant to have the titles a while ago, and they're getting their run, and it's going to be over. And then you're going to have to probably you got to Jungle Boy Jack's got to be he's got to be his own thing. He's got to be his own thing.
Yeah, I think he is going to be his own. But man,
and you got to turn Luchasaurus heel.
Oh yeah, that's inevitable. I mean, he's going to be. I mean, he's a monster heel, right?
Yeah, Starks and Hobbs would be a great combo. There's too much tag team talent right now. You might need another tag team belt.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? It's like, why haven't they? I think they should. I'd still like to see the trios belt first, and I think then you could have. How cool would it have been if when Marco Stunt? Because I think that was a really hot, that was a hot act when it was all three of them. They could have started with the 6-man belts and kind of led into this, and then it would have felt a little bit. You wouldn't have felt it took too long, because it could be argued it felt like it took a little bit too long to get the belt on Darby. And it took a little bit too long to get the belt on Sammy. But there's such a fine balance, because you also don't want to have these belts flipping all the time, right? You just want it to feel like it means something when that title changes hands. But it's a fine line. But maybe it is time for another belt. I'd like to see a mixed gender trios belt like in Lucha Underground, which was one of my favorite promotions in a long time because of what they did, like the Aztec belt. That belt was just like, you're going to have this belt, but it was a Money in the Bank belt, and then you were going to lose it. You knew you were going to lose it because eventually you were going to cash it in for a title, and now the belt is hot. Man, such a dynamic belt to have. And then the mixed gender belt was always so cool. It just so worked because, again, we know factions work, so to have those belts, like the Fabulous Freebirds with their 6-man belts, man, that was always so fun. That was always so fun.
They need to definitely. Are these Owen Hart belts up for grabs?
That's a good question,
because I didn't realize they were even getting belts. I thought it was going to be just a trophy or whatever, certificate of achievement.
Yeah,
but like they got new cool belts.
Yeah, they have very cool belts.
Can we challenge for those belts? Can folks try and take those belts?
That would be cool. I mean, it's definitely going to be an annual thing. So I don't know if that means are they gonna do it Ralph Macchio, All Valley style, that by next year the person who had the belt last year automatically gets a bye. That would be cool. But we'll jump to that in a minute. But yeah, I got a lot to say about that. That was a great. The whole thing was just
all right.
Great.
What's next? What happened next?
Jade Cargill went over on Anna Jay.
That was fine.
Yeah.
That was like a Rampage match.
It was a Rampage. Man, but I love Anna Jay. I feel like they could be doing so much more with her. Like, why do I feel like they're still struggling with her? Like, remember when we said how hot of a heel Ty Conte would be? And now look how hot of a heel she is. People legit hate her. Like, she's getting real heat. She's not getting channel changing heat. She's getting real heat.
No, she's getting Storm the Capitol heat.
Yeah, I think, oh man, that's so good. Again, I want to see that, I want to call her Samantha Fox, but I want to see the bunny, which I see the bunny is like an announcer.
Is she? I didn't realize that.
Man, but it's just, I want to see that heart, the 3 from hell. I want to see Anna Jay with the bunny versus, I keep calling her Samantha Fox. I don't even think she's with the company anymore. I want to see them work together and have that 3 from Hell gimmick, because they're starting to do with Jade Cargill, right? We had our first surprise announcement. We had the what's his name is now All Elite, and he's going to be her new manager. And she has that, and she has the baddie section. And I think this is going to help. Jade has that look. And again, I'm sorry I keep marking out over Tony Khan's scrum, but he brought this up in the scrum that when Jade Cargill shows up to any event and you're like, yes, I'm a wrestler, she makes an instant impact. When you look at her, you're like, wow. Like she bowls you over in every way. And she can work. I mean, she's still young in her career. I want to call her green, but I mean, her stuff is believable. But I want to see her almost say less. I want to have the baddies, and I want to have her new representation say more than her, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree. And I heard they were talking about maybe Sunny Kiss joining her baddies.
Yeah, I thought
that would be awesome. That'd be a great addition. But yeah, she needs that. She does. Not that she shouldn't talk so much, but like she's a super, like, powerful, over the top heel. She just doesn't need to say as much. Her folks can speak for her.
I'd hardly want to see her say anything. I want to let her actions in the ring talk, because she has what, William Regal said, that I can tell when somebody's a star as soon as they walk out, because of her, obviously because of her look, but also her energy. She just has such a great energy that she's really going to elevate this belt. And this is a belt that shouldn't change hands for a while, because when somebody finally beats her, that's going to be a huge deal for whoever beats her. Yeah, I agree, Jay. And Sonny Kiss does deserve more time. He would be a great in the back. And she called it out again, marking out. Here I am. Scrum. Call me the scrum mark. I'm a scrum mark, because they even brought that up. They even brought that up in the scrum about Sonny Kiss going in there, and she put Sonny Kiss over and said it was great, but she just said there's just so much going on right now that they couldn't really commit to it right now. But it made it sound like it was definitely, that was something that was on the table for sure with that. What was the name of the other person that they signed? I know after this, Athena showed up. JJ, you'll have to keep us honest. Who was the other person that became All Elite that day? It was a WWE guy. But Athena, we knew her as Ember Moon. She came out after this match, right? And just come a run in, and it sounds like that she's going to be making a run towards Jade, which I think is going to be great.
It looks like she's sort of squatted up with Anna Jay and Chris Statlander.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Chris Statlander. I feel like Chris Statlander, man. I don't want her to lose the alien gimmick, but she wasn't really doing much with it. But she's still, everything about her, she still has such a great look, and she's another one that just feels like a star. Stokely Hathaway, that's his name.
I like they're trying different stuff with Statlander, and she should experiment a little bit, because she was wearing a skirt and like sort of like a way different kind of an outfit.
Yeah,
on Double or Nothing.
She was, yeah. She's a star. She feels like a star, and I'm okay with her doing that, because they got to start elevating some of these. Some of the other women have to elevate. To if they're going to compete with Thunder, our girl Thunder, or Jade, or the Britt Baker levels, they need to elevate more. So put them in the position to succeed. That would be great. So, but good stuff. Again, I'm a mark for Anna Jay. Next match is the one that I thought should have been the pre-match, but it was still a great match. Was the House of Black defeating Death Triangle. Having Julie Hart in there was great, because again, what we're talking about now, that's going to elevate her by default by the company she keeps.
Can I just say, Pac looks great with a mask?
Oh yeah,
Pac should keep the mask for sure.
Yeah, just everybody. I mean, this was that Death Triangle. I feel like is. I know you're unsure about Death Triangle, right?
It's a weird mishmash of a thing.
It is.
It's Pac, Ray Phoenix and Gravedigger Penta now, and it's just kind of like, what? I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I don't like Gravedigger Penta. I know he changes his gimmick from time to time. It's just I don't. It's not my favorite. He should do Bat Penta.
Oh, Bat Penta would be good. Yeah, because he's done Joker Penta.
He's done Joker Penta. Do Bat Penta.
Yeah,
But anyway, so I'm not really feeling Death Triangle. It's like, and then he's, Pac thrown in with the Lucha Bros is already weird enough.
Yeah.
And then,
well, we think Penta, he could have a singles run. Like, he's good.
Yeah, Penta needs a singles run.
I
think that would be great.
I think that would be really good to see that. But again, I got no heat with this match, and I thought it was great. Like, there was no matches that I disliked, but I would have just rejiggered. What's up, Podcat? There she is, in case you needed to. There's the thumbnail.
Show this to the algorithm.
Yeah.
This is a cat video now.
Hello there. All right, what do we have? So next up after that, so this was the finals for the Owen Cup. We had Adam Cole going over on Samoa Joe, and
another one that felt like a Rampage match.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to combine them, because Britt Baker going over on Ruby Soho. I love this tournament from top to bottom, and I've never even been a huge Adam Cole guy. I love watching his entrance, and I love people making, getting so into the entrance. But the right people won this cup. I thought it was great to have Adam Cole and Britt Baker, because again, I'm looking for that realism. You literally now have, a married couple, the his and hers Owen Cup, and I was just like, that's great, especially knowing Owen Hart and how much he was into family over everything. Now you got basically a family that won the cup that is the Owen Cup. Hats off. This was great booking from top to bottom. And then having Martha Hart come out there, I don't know about you, but I watched that and I got choked up. And it was just to see Owen Hart become all elite, and Owen Hart to not be forgotten to time, because there's no way he's ever, I don't want to say never, they might sneak him in somehow, but he's never going to get that notoriety of being, not everybody's going to get to experience how great he was, and now I feel like now he is, because she wasn't going to do it with WWE. This was great, and he said it in the scrum, #media scrum mark. He said, I was like, I didn't even plan going out there. She was nervous, and she asked me to go out there. And people were like, oh, look at Tony Khan. He's looking for the photo op. No, I don't think so, man. I think Martha Hart should have been treated like a queen, the Queen of Hearts. So I'm glad that the person that's writing the checks came out there and showed her the proper respect and gave her the mic, and they gave her and the fans were all respectful. And you can even tell Britt and Adam were both very genuinely, honored to get to be the recipients of this cup. I just love this, and I'm looking forward to see it every year. And I like that it was not used as like a legit, like we're going to turn it into an angle. Like, every wedding in wrestling is going to end with, somebody's face and cake, or every contract signing, someone's going through the table. No, this just felt like the old school wrestling Japan style of, this is the Owen Cup, and these people were the best competitors of the tournament. I was very happy with this.
So are we going to see them now coupled up more on TV, you think?
I hope so.
They'll become more of a duo now.
I like just kind of wink acknowledging it for sure.
Because they have the matching belts, right? So wouldn't we want to get that on TV
you get the his and hers belts in there for sure. Like, I don't want it to go like full on like they're doing with Sammy and Ty, which I think is great. But it's
working out, right? They're making it work.
They're making it work. And
JJ, it's I have mixed feelings about it, but they're making it work.
Yeah, I just like to just come out there sometimes, and then sometimes maybe they don't. It just depends on what they're doing. Tonight I'm going out with the boys. I'm going out with Red Dragon tonight. But then sometimes why don't you come with me? We'll catch a movie. We'll go beat some people up, and then we'll go get something to eat. Oh, JJ, you nailed it. This should be AEW's King of the Ring, the Owen. I think it's, I love it, and I was very happy with that. So next up, speaking of power couples, what do you think of ATT, American Top Team, versus Sammy Guevara, Ty Conte, and Frankie Kazarian with the debut?
The debut?
What's her?
Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, Paige Van Zandt.
I thought
PVZ.
I thought this was great. This is where the show started to pick up steam, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. Frankie Kazarian has never looked better. He had an awesome match.
He did.
You know, the thing with Sammy and Ty came out, and the DFK, the deep French kissing immediately. I thought it was like super heat.
She had the Disney horn.
The Maleficent or whatever.
Yeah, Maleficent. Yes.
That was awesome. It's working great. They're turning their shoot heat into work heat, and they're doing beautiful wrestling. And I feel like they're just turning Ty Conte in the right direction a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I was a little concerned where it was going. I just didn't like her turning into just booty shorts Ty Conte. They're doing good stuff. And
I'd like to see more of one-on-one of PVZ versus her for sure. I want to see judo versus UFC. I want them to acknowledge that. And it was kind of weird because, having Dan Lambert is going to kind of automatically somewhat make her a little bit of a heel, but Ty's getting so much real heat, and they're using it to make money. So I think it would make Paige Van Zandt potentially a babyface.
If she's a babyface, that makes money, I think.
Yeah.
That's money. But it's great. And I loved the way, the spot where they ended it with Sammy knocking Ty Conte out with a super kick.
Yep. And
they practiced that with Penta down in Mexico.
Yeah, and they just did it. And she's like, yeah, you're definitely sleeping on the couch. And it just, I don't know. Yeah, it's working. This is the best that Sammy, for me, has ever been. This is finally, he was one of the pillars, right? And it felt like it wasn't a huge deal when he got the belt. And then I feel like he started to find his way in. First he was with, the less sex gods. And then he was just like, no, I'm going to hold my own as part of the inner circle. And then I love that he just said, I'm good, dog. And I quit. And no fight, no nothing. It's just like, I'm done. And now he's just turning into this real, just like the Instagram influencers that everybody hates because they're just being obnoxious. I was like, this is working really well.
They're like that. Have you ever seen that SNL sketch where it was like Jason Sudeikis, guy who plays Ted Lasso, and Kristen Wiig, and they're just insufferable assholes. Oh, yes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's like kind of the gimmick they're doing. They're just like millennial Instagram assholes.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's really good, man. I'm very happy with it, and that's basically that could be their name, millennial. Just give them that name. So, but yeah, that was a good match. Dan Lambert, he's a heat magnet. I like just seeing him out there. They need to figure out a way to transfer that heat because it's just staying on him. And he's not the wrestler. He needs to find a way to transfer that heat. He's still working on that though. Next up was Kyle O'Reilly defeated Darby Allin. No Sting because Sting was hurt. And then, man, Darby took some gnarly bumps again. What'd you think?
That's what Darby does. Was this I feel like this was a match that got added last minute.
It did.
This is a Rampage match.
Yeah, this absolutely could have been.
So I think they added some extra matches last minute because of they extended it by an hour to make sure they had enough time for the Martha Hart comments.
Yeah.
So I think this might have been one of those matches. It was fine, but it didn't feel like a pay-per-view match. It just felt like a Rampage match.
No, yeah, I'm surprised that they actually, because it was weird. Because I thought Red Dragon they were keeping as a tag team, but these guys can obviously work, and he was just getting some work rate in there, and he got that work rate in there. But we had a lot of stuff. Think about this: we're only halfway through the card, and we're not even to the Whoppers.
Can I just throw a suggestion out there to Tony Khan? Can you tag him in this, actually?
Yeah, I'll tag
tweet
him.
It out and tag him so he can see it. You know what? If you're going to extend the show and you need filler, instead of doing other matches, do some house show stuff. You know what I mean? Do something. Just come out, let somebody come up with something and just do it live and give the folks that bought the pay-per-view some kind of house show thing where they get to see it. And you never replay it again or whatever, but do something like that. Maybe recreate that feeling, Yeah. Because I think you just kind of waste these matches and people, people don't want to see them anyway.
Yeah, and then like you said, and then they just burn off, and then they're just gone, and that sucks because we were talking about movies getting forgotten to time. There's a lot of times that these matches will get lost in time, and then that will be it. And then what you get out of it. So
have someone come out and cut a promo on wherever they're at, or you know what I mean? Just do something. Just do some kind of filler in there. I don't know. I just don't think you should do matches as filler.
No, absolutely not. I agree. All right, next up, we had our girl represent. Thunder Rosa defeated Serena Deeb in a clinic. We knew this was going to be a hard-hitting match.
Was this one of the best matches ever on AEW, women's matches?
It's being heralded with that, which just goes to show with Thunder Rosa, man, when she's ready to bring it. She's one of the best.
Well, her and Serena work better together than her and Britt, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had the rivalry, but if you remember when Thunder Rosa first broke out in AEW, her first run was with Serena Deeb, and those matches were awesome. And then they kind of put that away. I think they've been saving it.
Yeah.
Because they're like the Blues Brothers. They have a fluid chemistry.
Yeah. No, it's so good. I mean, well, Serena is the professor, and we know Thunder has become a student of the game. And I popped, I don't know about you, but I popped big. I even put this on our Instagrams when she gave, we just watched the Thunder Rosa taco vlog where she, pulling the curtain back a little bit and seeing that Dustin Rhodes is her mentor, like not only her agent, but her mentor. But when she dropped to her knees and she gave that Dustin Rhodes uppercut, and then she did the gold dust up, and then she did hers, and I was like, oh, I popped big, man. I marked
that was
out
awesome.
on that. I marked out with that. But yeah, this was a great match. And honestly, I don't want this to be the end. These are the opponents. This is the Steamboat Flair stuff that you want to see a trilogy of matches with these two.
I agree 100%. Their work together is amazing. I think they can do way more stuff. Stretch this out. Give Serena some time to build her as well. Because I think she's still finding her footing as far as her gimmick. I mean, she's awesome, but she's getting there.
Man, she's just so good. Yeah, we gotta. I know she's probably one of the busiest women in pro wrestling right now, so we wouldn't even be able to see her locally, like even Super. But we should definitely need to support Mission Pro because she's taken off, man. She's continuing her trajectory to up and to the right. So and that could have been the main event, and it wasn't the main event yet. But that was a main event caliber match. But then we had this. I don't even know what to describe it. It was supposed to be the antithesis of Stadium Stampede, and it was Anarchy in the Arena when you had the Jericho Appreciation Society going over on BCC and Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz.
I loved it.
Oh my God, dude!
I loved it. I thought it was so good. Like what a way to sort of transition out of what just happened and create it. They played the Wild Thing like 10 times in a row, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they
just didn't stop. It was on a loop.
Yeah. Hashtag Medium Scrum. Here I go again. And Jericho kind of brought that up, and he kind of gave homage to New Jack, who was also known for letting his theme music play while all the carnage kind of took place. And then Jericho taking it to another level. It's just like, what if the music's playing? And then finally me being the ultimate heel is like, shut this music up. And then I'm going to break the soundboard. And that's what stops the music. I was like, those small little nuances mean so much. But dude, that was crazy. And then, Eddie Kingston coming out with the gas can. That was what an image of just like the bloody Yankee shirt. And he's like, his face is all swollen. And he just reminded you of like, the 60s Brooklyn dad whose son just got beat up, and then he went there and then he got beat up. So he said, I'm going to go home and get something, and I'm going to show you a lesson. And he's coming down the street with the gas can, and they're trying to stop him. Man, that was just this was carnage. And
it like created its own thing in the middle of this pay-per-view. Like that's just going to be a memorable match when you can remember the Anarchy in the Arena. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah. At this moment, I felt really nervous for CM Punk Adam Page. I was just like, wow, like that was just so much to follow. How do you follow that? How are you going to follow that? Just because it was so much for the fans in attendance, they're going to just be like out of breath.
Well, but the thing is, it's a different kind of a match. There was hardly any ring action. It's just a melee, a whole entirely different thing. So by the time it's over, you're adjusting back to normal wrestling. It feels fresh again. It's like, okay, and here comes a wrestling match now.
Yeah.
You have not, instead of taking in the main event after 10 wrestling matches just happened before it.
Exactly.
You just have that break where it's like, yeah, awesome.
Were you surprised at the finish? What a vicious finish. What a vicious finish.
I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I was satisfied with it. It was a good story. I liked it.
Well, if they were going to play it safe, right? You take one of the 2.0 guys who aren't 100% over yet. They're trying to obviously get them over by putting them in the Jericho Appreciation Society. And you could have did the same thing to one of those guys, which I don't even know them by name yet. I just know them by and they could have took the fall. But again, you took pretty much one of the most over guys in this match, and you take the other. You got Jericho and then Jake Hager and just do this vicious double team. And then even a nod to, remember Brian got fired from WWE for, using the Dapper Yapper's tie and choking him with a tie. It's like, no, we can't choke people with ties, pal. And then now he went over to and then he passed out from it. And he just woke up like, I was just, again, it felt a little bit like this was really, really vicious. And it didn't hurt Brian at all to take this loss. And then when he woke up, it felt like legitimate, like he was just like furious. I thought it was a brave finish that paid off.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was a great match. It was its own contained thing. Daniel Bryan definitely, to me, he's the best wrestler working right now. He doesn't need a title, he doesn't need anything, and he can get you over by beating you. He can get himself over by losing. Like he's great.
Yeah. Oh, I think everything about this worked. And this is one, there's not many that you want to go back and watch, but this is a match I'm going to go back and watch again.
Right. This is one that you can just watch by itself.
For sure. Yeah, by itself as its own thing. And then the cool down match was for the tag belts with basically the triple threat, Jurassic Express going over on Team Taz and Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. This was another match that I felt like was strange placement.
Rampage.
Yeah. Like
an episode of Rampage was filmed in the middle of Double or Nothing.
Yeah, in the middle of a paper. Again, like looking back at the card, I don't know what I would put here. Like I guess what you would consider a cool down match is like you could have put Jade there, but then you don't want, obviously that's not going to do anything for her, and you can't. I guess you could have put Thunder Rosa, and they would have survived being after that match. So I don't know if that's the best match for that placement for that match, and I don't really remember much about that match, to be honest. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember.
But this is all setting up for Jungle Jack's single run.
Yeah. It's time. It's time to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. I think that they had their run. They've pretty much done all they can do with the belts. There's not a whole lot. And I think the interest in that is waning. And I think you have to go ahead and just set out Jungle Boy Jack on his own.
Yeah,
he's got to be his own man now.
And he's
can't have his pet dinosaur.
Nope. Yeah, and it's going to get Luchasaurus some major heat. Like, you can't make Jungle Jack the heel. I don't think it would work.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think that would work yet. So, and then we had the main event. Then we finally got to the main event.
And 4.5 hours later.
Yeah, and CM Punk, the summer of Punk has begun. Going over on Adam Page, ending the reign that we waited for a long time, and it felt. I was unsure. I was like, man, is it already time to take the belt off of Page? But when I saw it happen, and the crowd was, I guess, a little bit split, but I feel like Punk was still getting more of the chants. But there was still some cowboy shit chants. But were the chants over because they wanted him to go over, or they just liked that chant? But I think it would have been a mistake to not give, for Punk to not have a run at the top, because like you said, he's the most bankable star. Media scrum mark, I am. They talked about it. He's the one that got him in the black. You need to have him as the face of your company for a little while. And it was time. Like, he didn't come right in like Hulk Hogan in WCW 95 and like, my first match, I'm going over on Ric Flair and you're giving me the belt right away. I mean, Punk had a run before he got to this. He had a run of getting other people over. It wasn't just about Punk. I mean, Punk was over, but I mean, his stuff with MJF was so memorable. Everybody he worked, he made sure he did his best to get them in the best. He really is giving so much back to all these guys that I love the idea of him being on top and now having to defend that belt. And yeah, JJ, you said it. You're absolutely right. I mean, we have not seen the last of Adam Page on top. I'd like to see, where he goes from here, and that's what's going to determine him getting that second run. But it would be great to have a nice summer Punk and creating more adversaries that are worthy of being on top, like MJF or Adam Page.
And he was crying there at the end.
Oh yeah,
shoot tears.
Okay, I mean, just basically never thought I'd be back in this business, and now I'm back on top of this
business.
Back on top with the
belt. It
makes
makes sense. It was good. It's great. Respect to Adam Page, but he got the belt late.
Yeah.
As things to do in AEW. Excuse me. He got the belt late, so his run was cut short, unfortunately. And I think it's time. I mean, I don't know that he was super over as a champ. He was super over on his way up there. But once he got it, I feel like he just kind of ran out of steam, right?
Man, I feel like that kind of happened with all the people who got the belt late. I feel like it didn't. The belt is supposed to elevate the people, and the guys that had the belt were already kind of elevated, and the belt really didn't add anything to them. And we find out the journey was the destination of just like the journey of him getting there. I think he deserved the belt. He's gonna have it again. I want to see them do something a little bit different with him. Like now I want to see the Adam Page. How are you going to react now that you don't have the belt? And because I don't know if I necessarily am ready to see a rematch of Punk versus Page. Not a pay-per-view worthy one. It didn't feel like it got personal. Maybe now if you're going to do a rematch with him and Punk, then you're going to have to. It was already starting to get a little personal. Now it needs to get a lot personal. Or
are they telegraphing a little bit of a heel turn with Adam Page when he was like trying to decide whether or not to hit him with the belt or not?
I thought that was great. I thought that was a nice little nuanced touch. And now I want to see a will he or won't he. I want him to lean a little bit more into the anti-heel. If you want to be the Stone Cold of AEW, then sometimes you are going to have to hit the belt. And he's going to, I think it would be great to have that, crisis of consciousness. Like if I would have just hit him with the belt like I wanted to, I would have won. And I'd like to see him get a little bit darker. So, but all in all, thumbs up for this pay-per-view. I mean, it was a great pay-per-view. Tony Khan goes out of his way. He really is trying to please the fans. If you listen to this man talk, I know he's trying to make money and he's using analytics and he's using data, but he's literally trying to please the fans because Vince McMahon says it's all for the WWE universe, but your opinion does not mean anything compared to what it means to Tony Khan.
I love that. No, so, I mean, yeah, it was awesome. A great show. I think, I don't know. They deliver on pay-per-views, and I would say this was probably on the lesser end of their pay-per-views,
Yeah,
but it's still delivered,
I love that it's like you say, year over year comparing to each of their big four pay-per-views, they're all going up and to the right, even when it's little nudges in that direction, and that's great. That's what I want to see because I don't want WWE to go out of business, just like I don't want AEW to go out of business. And they had that merger and the whole Discovery stuff, and you don't want to. I got the shivers of thinking of the AOL Time Warner merger, which was really the end of WCW more than anything. So I like that it's trajectory, and Tony Khan is handling this, in the proper. I think he's handling it correctly. Like maybe it could be argued. It's at a very dangerous time right now for him because you're going to start bringing in other people and other opinions, and that's when it starts to get dangerous. And I think he does need to be the Vince McMahon. That's what WCW was missing. Be the buck stops with me, and when the buck stops with me is also the same guy that kind of wants to please the fans, then it's going to benefit the wrestling business as a whole. So, with that, I think it's time for a beer. That was a long one, but it was worth it. It was like we were trying to compete with his pay-per-view times. It was just like that the recap was just as long as the pay-per-view. So, but yeah, I think it's a good time for a BRB and a beer.
All right, let's have a word from Strohs and we'll be back with the beer.
Yeah.
It's getting rough. What's our position? triangle before.
Yeah, but never with Strohs.
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light. And it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I called the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire-brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
Okay, here comes the thing back.
All right. We're back with some weird beer. And we got a good one. We got a good one today. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. We got some glasses. I got some glasses. We got some other glasses. I'm still nursing the podcast, but I'm ready for some beer. So this is we do a switcheroo. We got this coming from everybody's favorite cousin, Primo. This is called Monovision. Monovision.
What's it called?
Monovision. You get the close-up gimmick there. Let me get the sponsor at the way. See it? Monovision. Whoop. Wrong way. Right there. There you go. But, dude, he sent us an Alaskan beer.
This is a blueberry sour. It says blueberry sour.
Ooh, I just marked out. We got a sour. We got a sour brew with a cork. So we're going to pop this cork. That's going to
Show them the cork in the wide shot. You can't even see it.
Oh, you can't. Oh, yeah. Let me hold this up right here. Look at that. So we're going to pop it. I'll pop it in a direction that it won't do. Well, I'll just nudge it. But let's see. Oh, I got my Gimmick glasses on so I don't see. But it's the Anchorage Brewing Company. Blueberry sour with vanilla beans. So this is going to be like blueberry yogurt?
What's the alcohol content on that thing?
Looks like it's a 7-bagger. So which usually is on these other ones, yeah, it's 6.8. So yeah, let's pop it open because we want to be sufficiently juiced up for Obi Wan chat. So we got here. See, I did not prep this, so we're gonna see how this goes. Let's see if I can get this on.
Pull it off. Yeah, twist it off there.
Well, shake it up, baby, now. Twist and shout. Close. Oh, did you? That was a little bit. Oh my god, dude.
What?
Oh man, I just feel like I just got dropped into blueberry fields forever.
Really? It's got a strong aromatics.
Oh wow. Look at that cork. I'm gonna do that on the close-up gimmick. Look at
It's like a wine thing.
Yeah.
It's like blueberry wine.
It is.
And it's only 6.2. Wow.
I'm really surprised. So let's get Senor Pancho. Hola. JJ, how do you say blueberry in Spanish?
Hey, turn on the sign there.
Oh yeah, and the sign says, "Everybody welcome. Come in, kneel down, and pray."
There you go.
Boom. All right, here we go. Senor Pancho. Oh, dude. It's like frozen.
Is it frozen?
It's frozen. Where is my super suit? It's frozen, dude. Look at. Hold on. All right, we're gonna have to. Yeah, look, dude. That's like completely inverted. All right, do you got like a stick that I can kind of work it? Because I think it's just the top.
Yeah, I mean, I should have a stick.
All right, hold on. Let me go get it. Let me get a stick.
Look in the stick drawer over there. First drawer is the stick drawer.
You got kebabs?
The what now? Yeah, that first drawer, yeah. There's a screwdriver over here in this thing on the counter. Pizza cutter would do it, you think? Straw, do it. Should we?
Oh shit!
What's happening? Tell me what's happening.
So it exploded. When I hit the straw in it, it exploded. And I don't want to know if but look what's happening here. So look at what this dude did. Actually, this is very gram-worthy. Look at this thing.
That's the beer.
That's the beer. Look at it coming out of the top like that. I wonder if this blueberry is going to stain.
What did you spill it on?
Everything?
Oh, no, it'll be fine.
All right. Let me do this back over the sink because I think it's going to be messy, dude.
Okay.
All right, coming back. So you're gonna have to do live commentary.
All right, so the blueberry juice is shooting out of the beer. Whoa.
It's like oozing out. Oh my god, this is crazy. I've never seen a beer do this.
Okay, so now it's like just shooting out of the bottom. What's yeah? It's like a science experiment. Well,
All right, dude. We'll later on. We'll share this on our socials.
what happened?
What this looked like.
Oh yeah, you made it work. Whoa.
But dude, you're not gonna believe how much blueberry is in your kitchen. Oh my god, dude, this is everywhere. Primo, help us. All right, sorry. Holy shnikes. Aradrano explosion.
MJF is on.
Oh, he's on. Oh, it's perfect. All right, JJ, keep us abreast of everything that's happening while we sip on this beer, and we're gonna get ready to call Wayne here. I told him like 3 minutes, so let's just do a quick taste test, dude. This looks like. Do you remember the Mariano's Italian Ice, or was that just a Long Island dessert?
What is Mariano's Italian Ice?
It was just like one that you would get on the from the ice cream truck. And so you'd flip it over and it would have it would be the frozen, so instead of just being like the shaved ice, it would be like crunchy ice. Podcast drinking the blueberry beer. Podcast drinking the blueberry beer. Podcast, what are you doing? Why did you do that? All right, let us taste it. Did you try yours yet? All right, salute. Thank you. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God. Dude, that's so strong. I think I misread the label.
No, yeah, it's just sour.
Oh, my face. Did you see my... I don't want that to be indicative of what the beer actually tastes like, but I know my thumbnail... YouTube's been like, this thumbnail's good. It's good, though. It's actually not as sour as I thought it was going to be, but it's also not as sweet as I thought it was going to be.
I'm into it. It's good. Way to go, Anchorage Brewing.
Yeah. Oh, that's why it's from Alaska. They probably use pieces of the glaciers because this is ice everywhere, bro. I got ice.
It shot glacier at you.
It did. This was a big enough ice chunk to sink the tight, dude. And I put the straw in there and I went I did just like that, and the beer went. Whoosh, It just exploded everywhere. There's like blueberry drops leading all behind the set here, and it's all over the table here. But Primo, but this beer, if you're, I don't think he's on. That would have been good. We definitely need Primo to save us from this one. But it's good. I mean, it tastes good. The Dos Incredibles fridge that we took from the cellar and brought up here works really well. This is like ice.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize it had frozen. Oh, man. Okay, well.
Oh, man.
But you got some of it out.
I did. Yeah, there's still some in there. We're going to let it defrost on the fridge. But speaking of snow cones, I've told this story before about Wayne and I were like huge marks for snow cones when we were on the road. Like we'd find the different snow cone stands and whatever town we were in, and we'd find it. And like a lot of the old time wrestlers would bust our balls over it. But this reminds me of an alcoholic snow cone is basically the best way to describe this beer. I'd give you the bottle, but it's a raging mess right now. But Monovision thumbs up because it was an action-packed beer. Definitely an action-packed beer. What do you think? Because you're not really into the sour brew.
I mean,
Podcat liked it. She licked it, and then she kind of looked at me, and she went back and licked it again.
Well, the build-up to it was so awesome that I think when I finally got it, I was just pleased to drink it. It was great. And it was pretty, it tastes really fresh.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it did.
It's just like bursting with freshness, shooting out of it.
Literally was bursting. Yeah, my hands are a sticky mess too. But man, that was fun though. That was good stuff. All right, let's dial in. I don't even think we need a break. I think we're gonna just do this live, right?
All right, we'll go and dial.
All right, let's dial in. We're dialing them in now. I'll give you like I said, Wayne was actually my very first professional wrestling opponent. Late October 1991 was we worked each other. We felt like we had that chemistry, and then we decided to turn it into tag action. He's like one of my blood brothers, the one that you bleed with, and you'd go to war with, because we had gone to go to war with. He was the one that I told you when we wrestled on that Native American reservation, and we had to fight for our money. When we were in New Orleans and we had to chase that promoter, we had to fight for our money. This is all right. So let's call him, get him on the line here. We hearing that?
Yeah, coming through.
All right.
Hey guys,
What's up, brother? How are you doing, man?
I'm excellent. How are y'all?
Good, man.
What's up, Wayne?
Hey Mario, what's going on, brother? Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yo, no, this is awesome. I don't know if you saw that we just opened up a blueberry sour beer from Alaska, and it somehow turned into a snow cone that exploded. But I was telling Mario about our times on the road, how, the vets would bust our balls. I'm like, look at these, these rookies over here, and they're over there getting snow cones. And then we drove by and we saw them all getting snow cones.
Yeah, all those Dallas legends right there eating snow cones.
Yeah, exactly. Right on the side of the road. And the looks on their face was like almost like Fargo when they drove by and they saw, and they were looking at the scene of the crime. They had this look on their face like, uh-oh, they caught us.
I forgot we got the Wayne image also.
Yeah, check out.
In case you didn't know what Wayne looks like, you picture him in your head.
Yeah, there it is. Boom. So, like I was telling you, we spent hours and hours on the road, and this was pre-internet, and I told Wayne he was basically my Wikipedia when it comes, because we've been Star Wars marks from day one, and Wayne not only obviously was understood not only the films, but he understood the history, but he understood also the books and the comic books and all the stuff that's considered legends now. Like Wayne would be the one that I would say, hey, what's going on with this? And he'd give me this like elaborate, the backstory of what was going on with this, and realizing how rich of a history Star Wars is. So I thought it'd be perfect to have him on our halfway there episode for Obi Wan Kenobi. So Wayne, you are
Why don't you call me? Why don't you just call me a nerd without calling me a nerd, man?
That was basically it. But man, we just spent hours on doing it, and it's like, wow, okay. But you and I,
Well, you got to fill those hours out on the road somehow.
yeah, and we did, and it was filled with a lot of Star Wars talk of books like Darth Plagueis the Wise, that book that I never would have read until you told me, and now it's like not only one of my favorite Star Wars books, but it's one of my favorite books, period, to the point that it's like this would be the series I want to see. But Wayne has a very, very high bar when it comes to talking about Star Wars, so whether we're talking about Mandalorian, Boba Fett, the sequel trilogies, we knew this one was going to be important, Wayne. And wouldn't you agree that this is probably the most important piece of Star Wars content that they've made since the prequel trilogies, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Obi-Wan is a central character to all the stories moving through the Skywalker saga. And to get to go back and see what it was like for him in isolation trying to protect Luke is just amazing.
Oh man. So far we got we're 3 episodes in, and it's a 6-episode series. We got 2 right away, and then we got a 3rd right here on Wednesday. So again, we're halfway through. How do you feel about it so far?
Well, first off, I'm depressed that within a 6-day stretch, we're already halfway through.
Yeah, no, that really hit hard, didn't it?
That was tough to stomach when you told me that, but I've enjoyed it so far. I like it. I have my problems. I have little issues here and there, but overall, it's just incredible to see Obi-Wan again on the screen and to know that Darth Vader is lurking out there. Well, not lurking anymore, but I think it's just it's an amazing story, and some of my problems are small, but it's just any type of movie, TV show, anything, you can pick it apart if you do, but if you can really feel it in the end in your heart, that's what Star Wars is about.
Yeah, no, when it chokes you up on the right parts. And again, it could be argued, and we went through this, right? Because we were on the road together, as leading up to the prequels together. People back then, you and I were scratching our heads like, why do people not like these prequels? Because this was back when they were disliked, and we had small problems with it, but we still overall enjoyed everything. And now it's proven that it's aging like fine wine. And we even go back and like you watch A New Hope, and there's small problems with that too, right? There's small, everybody was angry about Ewoks if you go back to even the original trilogy. So I think Star Wars has a rich tradition of having small problems, and sometimes, like with sequel trilogies, they're big problems. But so far,
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
That recap was the best version of the prequel trilogy you've ever seen. Like, that got him over huge. It was like a highlight reel and made it look awesome.
Oh, I agree. That TLDR of basically all the sweet spots, the high notes of the prequel trilogy, showing the evolution of the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Wow, that was great.
And when that came up and it said skip recap, I was like, hell no, I'm not skipping the recap. Who would skip the recap?
The recap was so great. Like, it got me hyped to watch that episode.
It was,
You're dead on, Mario. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a perfect pregame to set you up for how important this series is for basically the most important person in this whole entire saga not named Skywalker. Right?
Yes.
Just hands down the most important person. And Ewan McGregor, so far, his performance is carrying like the show. Like, he's the star of the show. But his performance really is elevating this so much. Just his close facials, like everything's, and he looks like a war veteran with PTSD. And his face is beat up, his hair is hanging in there. And when they closed up on him, and he's like, Anakin, like you feel his strife.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can see. I mean, you nailed it the other day. You called him Broken Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And, that first episode, he felt broken. He felt alone, worn out, beaten. And, to see the different scenes that he went through, like when he denied who he was to that Jedi on the run, when he was hiding, while the third sister was interrogating the crowd, even not wanting to go save Leia, hesitant. And I'm not the man you used to know, all the way to that hesitation right at the end. He almost didn't get on that freighter until the lady said, "Well, are you coming?"
Oh yeah, that was strong. That was really strong.
Oh, and this whole series is full of just little magical moments, in the second part when, he said, "If there's ever a time that I need assistance, it's now, Master." And then he hears the voice of the homeless clone trooper to his right. That scene was,
man, that was so
just
good.
a little bitty scene, but that was all that tugged, to see here's a Jedi general, at his lowest point, looking down at a homeless clone trooper, and you see this is the destruction. This is the personal destruction that Sidious unleashed on the whole galaxy. That was such a powerful moment.
And yeah, basically showing that there really was no winners, because he's looking in the face of guys that saved his life, or he saved their life, his war buddies, like we were talking about, his war, and now he's looking at him just also another broken person. From there is no winners in war, and that just goes to show it. And having Tamora Morrison in there, look, we've always seen it with the Clone Wars. We were marked for the Clone Wars. We watched all that, but to see that just in live action again, you're like, oh man, it really did. That was one of the scenes that choked me up for sure, especially when the look on his face, and he's like, should I tell him, or does he recognize me? Because that could have gone in so many different directions. He could have, like, wait a minute, he could have still had the chip in his head, and now he's like, Order 66 is still in effect. I'm about to get chased by a crazy homeless man that I'm about to cry over because we went to war with him. I mean, that could have went in so many different directions, but I really agreed with the direction that they played it subtle, and it worked really well.
I think they made the right choice. Just have the moment, see the emotions, see the personal loss, and move on.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, no, that really was. Some of the small things, we can, well, this one wasn't a small thing. As we know, Star Wars has a rich history of, for whatever reason, when something's not working, they attack the actor or actress that's doing it. Mario, I'll ask you to, just as from your director point of view, I think Moses Ingram's performance is good. I don't have any problem with her performance at all. As a director, are you seeing any issues with her performance?
No, I think she's fine.
I mean, she's a Yale trained actress. I feel like if there's an issue that's happening that people are not digging, talk to the writers, right? I think she's performing how she's being told or how she's interpreting it.
I mean, I think she's playing it very much like the thing is, when you think about Star Wars, there was a whole lot of people, the original trilogy, it was like a whole lot of people with British accents for no reason. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like you were on a different planet and they had British accents there. And I think we've gotten away from that. Now folks are just sort of speaking more in their normal tone of speak, right? People have different dialects. People just sound different around the country. People sound different. You know what I mean? So now we're almost hearing folks from a different part of Tatooine or something, right?
Right.
They're from West Tatooine, and they have a different accent.
They're from the West Side.
So that's just kind of coming in. I think people just are not. It sounds foreign to them. Maybe it sounds weird.
Yeah, and I don't know, Wayne. We've talked about this plenty of times, because we've seen poor Jake Lloyd. I saw it was sad, but it was a funny meme, because we comparing to don't turn this actress playing Leia into what happened with Jake Lloyd, because I think he spiraled from the backlash, and it was the meme of Breaking Bad when he was punching the thing in the bathroom, and they're like, Star Wars fans, when a 7-year-old doesn't give an Oscar-worthy performance, he's like, bam, 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 bam. bam, like all fired up. Because I'm pretty, like, I don't think there's any bad performances. And it could be argued that in the prequel, people thought it was bad performances, or we know about the line of, I don't like sand, and how George Lucas's writing was kind of drugged through the sand, for lack of a better word. But Wayne, are you seeing anything wrong with any performances that are jumping out at you right now?
No, I'm not. On the performance, I think everybody's doing a good job. Now, back to the Moses Ingram thing, something I find interesting is on Twitter, Star Wars was putting out stuff basically trying to get in front of the racism, and saying there's 20 million different sentient species, don't be a racist. And then I found it interesting that they wrote her character, she's from the dark side, so she's going to be angry, but I find it interesting that she was an angry, dark-skinned female with a southern accent, which, by the way, as a Texan, I appreciate that the word y'all has been introduced into the Star Wars lexicon.
She's from South Tatooine.
South Tatooine.
Yeah, but they write her as an angry, dark-skinned female, and then she is by a pasty white alien male. She's told that she's from the gutter and has a stench, even though she was a former Jedi just like he was a former Jedi. So right. I think Disney's sending a little bit of mixed signals on that one there. That's kind of curious to me.
Yeah, it definitely, they could have steered away from a lot of stuff, because obviously, Disney has a history of, well, I don't even want to say Disney. Let's just call it for what it is. Kathleen Kennedy definitely has a history of, to quote Macho Man Randy Savage, you got a hidden agenda. And just like, man, it doesn't have to be. We're totally okay with, like, we're talking about the other Star brand, Star Trek, was always about messages of hope, and you can do it in a way that it navigates into the story organically. So, but I
agree.
I feel like
I totally agree. To me, the Reva character is interesting. She stands out among the Inquisitorius. It seems to me like they are leaning back on their Jedi, origins, and they're patient, and they're willing to sit and almost wait for the table scraps from Sidious and Darth Vader. And she's out there more Sith-like, impatient, going to go out and make her way. She's obviously enterprising and clever. I mean, she ran down Obi Wan Kenobi in no time.
Yeah,
she discovered, she did her homework. She's intelligent. She did her homework. She found the link to Leia and had her captured to lure him out, knowing he would show up. And then the others was, dragging behind her, trying to take credit for what she had done. And I find her a compelling character, and, seems like she's going to be a match for Broken Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and she's more of the enterprising startup, and they're the corporate shills, like, towing the line. Because it could be argued she has a very, very similar parallel to, ironically, Anakin Skywalker. I think she has a very similar, because that's how he would have done it. Like, we always used to laugh about that line, we'll take him together. No, I'm taking him now. No, wait. She would be the one that says, we're taking him now. There's some stuff, again, and I think it's unfair, because there's some stuff in her writing that is bringing, an unnecessary spotlight on her, with just the little stuff, right? Like, they didn't really acknowledge that, her force power is obviously almost like like she has that bloodhound force power that she's walking around looking, and it looks, and just to an average, just a viewer, they're like, whoa, she just happens to be walking in through this show and spotting all this stuff. But for us nerds, we realize she's using her force power to try to sense as she's walking through it. She's part of the bloodhound plot, but no one's seeing that. So it looks like she's getting a lot of unearned stuff because she just happens to walk up to, Owen Lars, and she just happens to walk through the door where the escape tunnel was. It's just like, but you realize she's using her force powers. So I think that's not helping.
I think anybody saying that she's, not earning isn't watching the same thing I am, because to me, she's using every aspect of her intellect, her force instincts, her powers. She's just smarter than the other Inquisitors.
Yeah, and what about the Mario? I don't know, because you only watched a little bit of Rebels, right? Or did you watch just a couple of recaps? I don't know.
Rebels, the cartoon?
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of it, honestly.
Okay, I didn't know you didn't. So because the other big controversy right now, which they didn't even really bring up, they didn't make a big deal of it, was the Grand Inquisitor. In canon, you want spoilers, right? You're okay with spoilers?
I'm good with spoilers, yeah.
Like, obviously, the Grand Inquisitor dies in Rebels, against Caden. How did you say his name?
Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, Kanan Jarrus. So he dies against him. But then Reva killed him last week in basically a move to be promoted. And everybody's really concerned.
Actually, I can't wait for the scene where she finds out he's alive.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, do you really think that he is alive, or do you think that the Grand Inquisitor is a job title and they could get somebody? But then, what are the odds that another one of that species that looks exactly like it is going to be another Grand Inquisitor?
I think it's going to be the same one.
It is the same guy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I cheated. I went to StarWars.com and I checked.
Okay, so it is the same guy. Okay,
so it is the same one.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, look, Darth Maul got chopped in half, and he came back. So
yeah,
he came back and for whatever reason in a more accepted way than even you can say. Somehow, the Emperor is back, and we don't know how. And they used the Sith alchemy. I've seen it happen, but to take the shot to the gut, and we just learned it through Book of Boba Fett, right? That Fennec took that shot to the gut, and she came back when she got modded by the mean motor scooters. She got modded, so I mean, it's not that unreasonable for him to come back. But I don't think
a lightsaber is going to cauterize the wound. So
yeah, I feel like that shouldn't have been as big of a controversy as it was. What about JJ said, I'm mad that no one has mentioned that the Grand Inquisitor is actually Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat 4. Well, is that the actor? Or is that how we... But yeah, I know the Grand Inquisitor has, and Wayne, you'll have to fill us in, because I know he has a rich history as one of the guards, right? He was a yellow lightsaber guard for the Jedi, right? In the temple?
Yes, he was actually one of the guards that escorted Ahsoka Tano out on the platform when she was in a trial.
Oh, when she got framed, right?
Yeah, when she got framed, by Barriss Offee. He escorted out, and from what I've read, that's one of the moments where he started losing his faith in the Jedi.
Wow. So that's, and they got a chance for, the characters do look exactly like I thought it was the actor for a second. Because I know that actor took some, another one of the controversies that came out is that actor took some slack because he's like, I really just didn't watch anything to Rebels because I wanted to interpret it. And people were like furious. Like, the character's already established. There's nothing for you to interpret. But what's Star Wars without some controversy? But I still feel like, other than the Moses Ingram thing that became very personal for the actor, it's herself. I feel like this is like another day at the office for Star Wars.
They should title the next Star Wars is like Star Wars Wanna Fight? It could be the subtitle.
Boring.
Dude, wait, I was just going to do that. That was definitely the Robot Chicken. Boring. Let's fight. Which, Robot Chicken needs to be.
Is anyone else having a problem with Obi-Wan's on this big secret mission and he dresses in a Jedi cloak?
Yeah, right? It's just like, shouldn't you be wearing something different?
What was that, Dayu?
Dayu,
that's in the part 2. He's running around that city with a Jedi cloak trying to convince everybody he's not a Jedi. that one kind of confused me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, episode 3, today's episodes, and well, spoiler alert in case anyone hasn't seen it. Mario, you already waved your spoiler flag, white flag, that you're okay with it. You know, for him to be sitting in front of all the stormtroopers with it on, they're like, I guess in Stormtrooper Academy, they don't have like war history classes that you got to pass to know thy enemy. Because they're like, he was sitting right there, and it's just like, oh wow. But yeah, there's a few of those scenes like that. That again, it's Star Wars. You do have to make those stretches. Even George Lucas with the double Holy Trinity, there was tons of little plot holes that were in there. I just feel like they're dancing around some dangerous territory, having not only Obi-Wan, but now having Leia in there. That you're just like, wow, they got to be really, really careful. Like, you would think somebody would be there making sure it's like, no, you can't do that. No, don't say that. Like, because you risk it now that she's right there with Darth Vader. Like, Darth Vader's daughter is right there on the planet with him, and he's walking basically with his Force-sensitive antenna up, looking for Force-sensitive Obi-Wan. And he's not going to pick up on her. Now, granted, he never picked up on it on the original trilogy, and she was right in front of him. But
he tortured her.
Yeah, he tortured her. So it's like, I feel like they're already playing a little bit with fire. I love seeing little Leia. I think the actress is great. I think she's really capturing that rebellious spirit that Carrie Fisher put into the character. I think she's catching. But I feel like, man, she's such a big part of this that I almost feel like she shouldn't be as big of a part of it. Like, it's cool that she got involved, but not too involved, because, man, like I told you, and Obi-Wan, I told you this earlier, Wayne, I was like, he needs to stop being so mean to her, because she's just as important as Luke at this moment, because he doesn't, like, he knows what made Obi-Wan decide who's the chosen one between Luke and Leia. Because what if it is her?
I guess familiarity that he was checking on the boy for all those years.
Yeah, so I guess that 10 years, and he's like, you have no idea what I'm risking, to be here with you, Your Highness. But it was just like, you need to be risking it for her too. So, I mean, again, that's... Oh,
yeah, because the whole ball of wax is on the line right now, because Leia and Luke is the hope of the galaxy, and nobody's watching over Luke right now. Leia's been, spoiler alert, Leia's been captured by the Inquisitorius, and if Obi-Wan was to die, that's it.
Yeah, it's over.
There's no protector over Luke. It's all on the line right now. So, I mean, there's some high stakes going on right now. So it's really interesting. I think it's brave to throw Leia in the mix. The possibilities of loopholes being created, be damned. If they throw her in there and they pull it off, how cool is that?
Oh,
that Leia, we got to see Luke and Leia in this, and Leia was an integral part so far. I think it's interesting.
It is.
I like where they're going with this. And what you brought up, oh my gosh, that scene with Darth Vader walking down that street.
Oh, Mario, and you're going to flip when you see people. That.
And when he snapped that boy's neck, oh my Lord, that was terrible. But I loved when they flashed down the street and they showed the 3 Inquisitors, and they kind of flinched, like, oh my God, at the brutality of it.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Yeah, Mario, when you see that scene, it's funny because they had the first part 1 of the duel. They had Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, and some of the complaints were, why was he not being as aggressive as he could have been? Which he used force power to basically drag Obi-Wan through fire, because he's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to torture you like you did me. But before that, like, he's being kind of timid. It's like, really? He just snapped a kid's neck. He force choked one kid, snapped another kid's neck, did another force push through there, and he was walking. Everybody, I was like, he was just basically walking down the street killing people, not sand people, and not just the men, but the women and the children. Yeah, he was. I mean, I thought he was ruthless.
We got rated R Darth Vader.
We got rated R Darth Vader. And like you said, and again, we'll see what happens until the fight with Obi-Wan, because he felt like he was either testing Obi-Wan or if he was pulling back, because it felt like, I want to see how far I can take this guy. And then Obi-Wan was basically on his heels the entire fight. He was running for his life. Go ahead, Wayne.
I have to be honest, that is my biggest problem so far. I think they're taking the broken Obi-Wan too far.
Yeah.
He was utterly helpless in that fight, and it just, muscle memory alone, Obi Wan Kenobi, supposedly the greatest defensive lightsaber duelist in the Jedi history, and let's face it, Finn put up a better fight against Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
With a lightsaber. At least he got a blow in.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan looked like a rank amateur in that. And I get that he's shocked that Anakin's alive. I get the emotion, he's broken, and even the rust factor. But I would have liked to have seen him show some technique, kind of like he did when he was fighting in that spice den, and he looked a little rusty, but then like the moves were kind of coming to him when he was taking down those two thugs in the hallway.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen him show some technique, maybe a little slow, maybe a little off, but to me, there's no doubt Vader's going to win in that, because Vader is at his all-time, in his prime, and I just would have liked a more competitive fight. And then when Vader knocked over those that barrel and lit those flames up, and they showed him, I was like, oh, well, that's a gratuitous shot. Well, it looks cool, Vader in the flames. Then he pulled Obi-Wan down into those flames. I was like, oh man, he's gonna burn him.
Oh,
Revenge.
man, yeah.
Oh, that was incredible. That was just utterly incredible.
100% on brand. That was the one that really made me wince, because I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming at all. Like, obviously, we always wondered as fans, like, man, why didn't you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you, but I'm still gonna leave you there and burn. I'm not gonna put you out of your misery. Like, he left him there to suffer, and we always wondered, why didn't he go finish the job? And I know he just couldn't, but now, and obviously,
one little flick of the wrist could, with a little force shove, could have shoved him out in the lava, but that wouldn't have been the will of the Force, because he had a job left to do.
Yeah.
He was still the chosen one who ended up throwing, Sidious down the shaft.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can explain that one, because that is kind of hard. Like, you fought all the way through there, and then you left him alive.
Yeah, that was strange. But it added
and then
to
that
the
leads
scene.
to another problem. That leads to a problem at the end of the fight, though. Why did Vader let them go? They were just on the other side of the flames. He could have, with the Force, could have grabbed a hold of the droid, all three of them, and brought them through the flames. Do you think it's like a cat and a mouse thing? Like, well, I've made my point. Now you're suffering. I'll hunt you down again.
Yeah, that's what that's going to be the $1 million question, because he saw the droid. There's no reason he couldn't have crushed a droid or grabbed him or did whatever he wants. So I'm really curious how that escape is going to happen. I know a lot of people had big problems with that. They're like, no, he's afraid of the fire. It's like, no, he caused the fire. So I don't know what that means.
He wasn't afraid of it when he was dragging Obi-Wan through it.
Yeah, exactly, when he was dragging him through it. So another thing I can think of is he realizes that, okay, I'm gonna, obviously I can beat this guy whenever I want, so I'm gonna use him to maybe hunt down some more Jedi or help to figure out what's going on. But that is the $1 million question.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile broken Obi-Wan, who is obviously at this point, in the second part, I told my wife, the irony of this is if these Inquisitors ever corner Obi-Wan, he's going to smoke them all.
Yeah.
And now that I've seen broken Obi-Wan wield a lightsaber, I'm thinking, man, if Reva runs him down, she's going to take him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to need...
But how do you reconcile the way Obi-Wan is now with the Obi-Wan from Rebels that took out Darth Maul in 3 moves?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That Obi-Wan was confident. He was sure. He was at peace. When Maul approached him, he was just, this is no big deal. I mean, basically, you could just read his mind like, hey, I don't want to kill you, but if but if you come at me, and
Yeah.
then it's oh wait, oh now you know I'm protecting somebody. Oh, it's your ass now.
Yeah, and he was gone just like that. The biggest, that other
Yeah.
biggest Obi-Wan rematch was over in 3 moves, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
So I'm thinking we've got to see Obi-Wan have that moment of grit that stands up. At some point, he's going to get cornered, and he's going to stand up. We've got to see him redeem himself in the last 3 parts here. He's got to have a strong moment.
Yeah, he can't stay broken, because even the Obi-Wan that we met in A New Hope with Alec Guinness, he was happy. You know, for lack of a better term, right? He was ready to train Luke. He was ready to take him under his wing. He was not broken at all. He was just like, okay, now's my time to shine. So we got to see closer to that, which I think we're gonna, right? Because, you know, by the time
Hopefully this is his redemption journey.
yeah, this has to be.
Hopefully this is the tale of how he came back from broken Obi-Wan.
I think clearly so far, if you're keeping track at home, it's a tie game. Obi-Wan beat him in the first one in Revenge of the Sith, and now Darth Vader won this battle. So I think it has to end with Obi-Wan in a way. Either they're going to go to a Broadway time limit draw, but Obi-Wan has to come out looking strong, because we gotta get to that moment when Vader says in A New Hope, when we last met, I was but the learner, but now I'm the master. So that means it has to be Obi-Wan has to school him a little bit.
Do you think there's going to be a second confrontation?
I think there has to be.
Because a lot of the marketing around this series was that you're going to get another confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan. And at this point, if this is all we get, I feel ripped off.
Yeah, no, there has to be another match. There has to be. I want them to do, and Mario appreciate this, they have to do the Rocky Balboa, right? That they need Qui-Gon to play the part of Mickey, and he needs to say, "Get up, you son of a bitch," because Mickey loves you. That's what they got.
What are we waiting for?
Exactly. We have to have that, to complete the arc. So when we run into Obi-Wan, I guess it would be 8 years later from where we're at right now, that he's going to be living in a hut, and I'm kind of eating, and I'm not in a cave anymore. It's like, I don't know if you heard, but I don't sell my stuff to Jawas anymore. I'm okay. I'm better. And that's what we need to have. I think Reba's a goner. I don't, it's going to, I don't know. Her story to me is going to be interesting, how they end that, because we know the other Inquisitors that are in Rebels, and I don't think they're going to break canon. I'm not like everybody else who's flipping out that Disney's changing canon right before our eyes. I don't think they're going to change canon, because really the only one that we don't see later on is Reva. So I don't know if she's coming out of this, and how, I think her ambition is going to get her, and whether it's going to be what I'm curious of is her life going to end at the hands of Vader or the hands of Obi-Wan? Which I'm or
the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh,
Does he need to make a comeback?
Oh yeah, he's going to need to make a comeback, because he was definitely had a stronger showing in Rebels than he did in this. So I think he needs a little bit of a redemption arc. Why would Vader value him over her? She's outsmarted him at every move, and she stuck the lightsaber in his gut. So yeah. And you always told me this, and I'd never and now we're actually seeing it play out. The Vader that we known was never comfortable with his spot. He was always fighting to keep his spot. So if he's always fighting to keep his spot, everybody under him are going to be forced by default to also fight to keep their spot. So I think he's totally fine with the Inquisitors fighting each other to the death to prove themselves in, because Sidious is trying to actively always kill Vader just to make sure that he's still on his game.
Yes, and if anybody can kill him, he's not worthy of being a Sith. So
yeah, so I think that's going to be good. So Mario, what are you thinking? Jumping to, we went through the journey of the Book of Boba Fett together, and sometimes we're victims of our own hopes. what kind of cameos are you looking for? Like we already got, I mean, Bail Organa, we got Jimmy Smits in there, and he's doing great. He's really adding to the tragedy that happened with that planet getting blown up. We got Little Leia as a cameo. What kind of cameos are you looking like? I know you're not as hardcore as us. Or do you want to see cameos? Do you care about cameos? Who else would you want to see in the Obi-Wan series?
Well, I think the recap video immediately telegraphed Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
We're getting Qui-Gon.
We have to.
I feel they also telegraphed Sam Jackson.
Oh,
Mace
really?
Windu. Yeah. Because if you watch the recap, those are the first two sort of like people we see.
Interesting.
And it's like I think if they're attempting to like downplay folks, they kind of like they'll shoot around them, you know what I mean? Or just use audio, try to like, pare down their appearance. But Sam Jackson, they seem pretty prominent. He's got a Disney contract already.
He's been lobbying to bring that character back too.
He did, yeah. I forgot where he was. He was telling Bryce Dallas Howard, who's directed some of the really good episodes. He was like, I can do it. I can come back. A lot of Jedi survived from higher. A lot of other people survived from higher falls.
And he's already across the lot working on Avengers. Right? He's already there at Disney, so just clock out and then come over to the Star Wars soundstage and do that part.
I think that, to me, I think everybody's expecting Qui-Gon, but you just blew my mind because I don't think everybody's expecting Samuel Jackson. And if he shows up, that's internet breaking. Even if he just shows up to sacrifice himself, or maybe, Anakin gets his revenge for never calling him master. Like, you realize how many memes they made about me for you not letting me be a master? I think that would be a great cameo. I saw another funny meme of, Obi-Wan getting hunted by every bounty hunter and inquisitor across the galaxy, and said, meanwhile on Dagobah, and they show Yoda taking a nap. But that would be an interesting cameo. Do you think there's a chance that we're going to get Yoda or Baby Yoda? What if we get Grogu? Because he's around. He's hiding, but he's around. I think that would be a big surprise. I think because they touched on it a little bit when they said, what are they doing with all these younglings and force-sensitive children? They're like, they never see them again. And clearly they're setting up for Reva to be one of those younglings that turned Inquisitor. But wouldn't it be interesting if we do get a glimpse of Grogu now?
Do you think that would be well received after he's already been inserted into the Book of Boba Fett?
I don't think it's necessary. I think it would be like a baby pop, but if you want the Road Warrior pop, I don't think you throw in Grogu. I think you throw in Mace Windu. So yeah, I don't know if it would be ill received because he's so popular, but I don't think it's, like you said, it already kind of felt like they shoehorned him into Book of Boba Fett. Maybe they don't need to put him here.
I think it's too soon for that crossover.
Back to Mace Windu, do you think that they would bring him back as a part of the story, or maybe end of credits last scene to spark interest in the project, and you just see in the shadows, you see a purple lightsaber light up?
Ooh, that could be good. If I had my druthers, I would choose that over part of the story, because then they'd be like, surprise, we're going to have a What Happened to Mace Windu story. I think I'd prefer that as the cameo. I think that would be very cool. And that would break the internet even more.
I think so.
I agree with that. There's a smaller cameo that they hinted to, which was pretty cool to see IRL Obi Wan Kenobi talk about Quinlan Vos. I thought that was cool because he was such a compelling character in the animated universe. To actually have him call him out by name like that was pretty cool. I think
that was very cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see them investigate that a little further, because that was true on like, hey, this is for the deep cut fans to appreciate. I thought that was cool. They haven't really done much with Luke.
No. But you kind of had to take the story off of Tatooine in order to keep Tatooine safe, that they don't suspect Obi-Wan being on Tatooine.
That's a good point. That is a really good point. Yeah,
They had to lure him off, and so as long as there's no battles on Tatooine and he's not actively seen on Tatooine, there's no reason to suspect him.
Yeah, that's.
But talking about the cameos, you had Flea in there. That was pretty interesting. But what do you think? Can you have a Star Wars product in this era without R2D2 and C3PO?
Yeah, right. Because we only got the small. Was that C3PO right before the other protocol droid that they showed talking in the back? And
I didn't notice that.
I think it was
great catch.
It was in episode 1 when she was about to get into the fight with her cousin that was trolling her, and there was another protocol droid. But before that, it looked like C3PO was talking in the back. Now, granted, no R2D2, but you're absolutely right. Showing them together, I think, would be a very good nod to the fans.
Because isn't the entire Star Wars story supposed to be told through their eyes?
Yeah.
The Skywalker side?
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder.
JJ didn't get that memo, but yeah, you're absolutely you're absolutely right. So I don't know, man. Halfway there, I'm pretty happy. We got to learn to quell our hopes, just because again there was a lot of people that were upset the way Boba Fett turned out. But so far, I don't think that's happened to. I think they're honoring the Obi Wan character, and I think Anakin's getting honored too. I think we're seeing more of a badass. I popped because that was our first look at Anakin, even though it was just a mirage, him and his PTSD. But seeing Anakin in the robe, standing there in the middle of that field, looking back at him, that was cool. I want to see. Yes. I want to see more. I want to see a Clone War flashback. Are we going to get? And Mario, I know you laughed about this, because we had so many back to tank flashbacks. But now Obi-Wan is basically burnt up, like he's got serious burns. So he's going to have to go in a back to tank, and he's going to have some. Is that where we're going to see either Anakin as Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen as Anakin, or are we just going to see that's when he finally breaks through and talks to Qui-Gon?
You think we'll get a de-aged Anakin? I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Because maybe have we seen Jedis in the Bacta tank before?
No, just Luke and Empire.
Because you can they can astral project out of there,
right,
and go talk to someone somewhere else.
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely true. I wonder if they can do. The Luke is the only one that flaunted that power, at least in the films. But seeing a Jedi in the Bacta tank is going to be like very deep meditation. So I think that's gonna come into play for sure, because he's burnt up. Mari, and you'll see. I know you haven't fully watched it yet. He's burnt up pretty bad, and that scene was strong. Like he was just toying with Obi-Wan, and he just drug him through the fire. Just like, how do you like it, huh? How do you like it? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
In the James Earl Jones voice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did it in the James. Yeah, and that's somebody was saying it's like, no, that's computer generated James Earl Jones, and I'm like, and I guess they could do that, but I thought it was really James Earl Jones. Wayne, do you think that sounded like computer generated?
On IMDb, it's his credit.
It is his credit in there. Yeah,
I guarantee you, Disney has already purchased James Earl Jones' voice in perpetuity.
Oh my God, you're right.
They probably developed an AI to recreate it. They can just do it with a keyboard, and it'll do James Earl Jones' voice. But they already paid him off for that. And it's like he probably gets millions of dollars a year until he dies.
That's not a bad retirement plan. It's just like, and I don't have to go into the suit. That's fine. And speaking of that, Wayne, what did you feel about the suit? A lot of people thought the suit looked too skinny, and I thought that was a weird take. Like, what do you mean it looks too skinny? Except the pants. The pants were too baggy.
I did notice the baggy pants, but it didn't really bother me. I didn't notice him being too skinny, but at this point, he's had 10 years of healing. He's every spare moment he spends in a Bacta tank, and he's still fairly young. I could see where 10 years later he would swell up a little bit. And at this point he's been hunting Jedi, so he's very active. He's not just a stand on the bridge kind of general.
No.
He's been actively hunting and killing Jedis, and they referenced that in the first part when they said we're hunting scraps, and
Yeah.
they said that's all we have at this point. So he's been very active. So I think that you could nitpick anything. You could go to a work of art, a movie, whatever the so-called greatest movie of all time was, and you could pick it to death.
Yeah.
So I think people are guilty of that in Star Wars, and I think that mob rules. Someone kind of lights a flame, and everybody tries to throw gasoline on it.
Yeah.
To me, I'd go in hoping to enjoy that Star Wars magic. Along the way, you're gonna see a few things that catch your eye, but you can't allow that to distract you.
No,
unless it's the abomination that came out in the sequels.
Yeah, and Jack was asking me this. He's like, "Do you think people are going to appreciate the sequels in like 10 years the way they appreciate the prequels?" And I'm like, "Son, no." But no, I do think there's going to be glimmers that are appreciated, but not as a whole. Because again, we remember the prequels, man. Think about, you remember the heat that Jar Jar Binks got? Jar Jar Binks got nuclear heat. I mean, he made it seem like...
It drove him insane. The poor actor who played him is mentally ill now.
Oh, man, that was crazy. And it's just like, and we're talking about made Baron Corbin look like Stone Cold. I mean, he was so unover. And now, I think if you had a Jar Jar Binks cameo, he would get a pop. Not like a groan. I think he would get a major pop.
Well, I think that some people forget that Star Wars is also a vehicle for toys for children.
Right.
So there's usually going to be an Ewok or a Jar Jar Binks or even the Jawas. And,
Oh, yeah.
I think that there's, people lose track of that's going to be a part. There's always going to be something cute. What were those things called? Porgs or something?
Yeah.
Those little penguin-looking birds.
Yeah, those were all about toys.
Yeah, so to me, you can't get distracted by that.
No.
I mean, there are things that can be criticized, but the marketing side, the merchandising side, is always going to be there on properties of this level. It's unavoidable.
It has to be. Yeah, Leia's little droid Lola. You can buy that already.
Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely true.
Of course, you can't.
But
think about that.
But I feel like that. You really do have to read between the lines. And Wayne, Mario, I think I've told you this as well. I appreciate the Force more than I appreciate the wars in Star Wars. I appreciate that more than I do actually. That's why I think I never really got into Star Wars Resistance, because I didn't know. It's just like, well, they're not really going to get into the Force, because I mean, again, we've all had those metaphysical conversations that I feel, and I look for those parallels and try to understand that, and that's always what drew me more than the blasters and the spaceships. I've been more about the Force and the Force. Like, give me an episode about a Force ghost over any of the big battles in Star Wars, and I'm picking the Force Ghost 10 out of 10 times. So but that means you got to sit through a lot of the other stuff to get to that part, because I mean, and Mario, I don't know what that film technique is called, but I feel like George Lucas people were angry about the cut, and you haven't seen the episode yet, fully. They're angry about the cutbacks. Like, they were middle of showing, Vader fight Obi-Wan, and then they cut back to something else. Like, that's all they did in the first, especially in the Jedi fight. All I remember is the cutting back and forth to Lando Calrissian, storming, and then cutting back to the fight. I don't know what that style is, but think about this. Luke Skywalker got trained on Dagobah this whole time while Han was having a very slow, let's get out of here across the universe. I don't know. Is that a filming technique, or is that just an editing choice?
I mean, it's just montage editing, but I think in like the OG ones, they would cut to a very long, complete scene, and it would play out. Then it would cut to another scene at the other location. I feel like these cut back and forth a little faster.
Yeah,
and which is why people probably find it jarring.
But
you'd see a complete portion of the story before it cut away, in those older ones.
Got it. Yeah, and maybe I don't know if that's just the modern people, the way consume content. Everybody wants it to be faster because I don't know, Wayne, if you know, did you find that distracting when they were cutting away from the fight?
No.
I just felt like that's all Lucas always did.
No, it didn't bother me at all. In fact, it oh yeah, it was like, oh yeah, we're back to this. Okay, where are we going here?
Yeah.
It helped the excitement to know that really the battle was on 3 levels.
Yeah. Leia was
usually it's 3 levels. The Jedi have a fight. There's a ground based and a space based.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and this was important, like you said. If they committed, and I guess that's the whole thing with Leia. They added real tension because you're like, man, they have such a important character. How are they going to get her out of this? And it's almost adding like almost real stakes because you're worried about the story, and you're worried about the character too. So cutting back to Leia, figuring out how she's going to get away, because there was real tension. I was like, how the hell are they getting off this planet? The entire time, this was like a serious tension builder, because man, right when he got to the planet, he's already having to hide from stormtroopers. Like, there's no way he's getting off this planet. And I feel like, how are you? And now he's like, okay, get Leia out of here. But there's no way she's getting off the planet. And they're still on the planet as the end of the episode.
And that's great storytelling because we all know how the story ends. They have to get off the planet. And when they're putting tension and you're feeling the tension, even though they're going to escape because they have to.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job there. How magical was that scene at the very beginning with the cargo ship when she asked, "What's it like? What does the Force feel like?"
Oh man, that was good. That was really good. Again, that's when I feel like he finally reminded, oh yeah, she's important too. I need to explain the Force to her. That was really good. Yeah. And hats off to that, little Leia, that actress. She's doing a great job. She really is.
It's almost like in the middle of him rescuing her, she's rescuing him.
Yeah. Oh man, she rescued him right back. Mario, you're going to appreciate this. You know what the vibe that it's creating right now with Leia and Obi-Wan? The professional. Leon the professional, which ironically was Natalie Portman, now being played by her fictitious daughter, but it is a version of the professional because she's having to basically bring out the old Jedi hitman on him.
It's poetry, right?
Yeah. There it is. It's stuff's like poetry. It's rhyme. Yeah, and JJ, no, we do not want, because Kathleen Kennedy has been compared to the other Kennedy, Vincent Kennedy. So no WWE booking for Star Wars. Like, when are they just going to accept that? Give Favreau and Filoni the reins. Like, he got a freaking...
They're pretty much there, aren't they?
He got a Road Warrior pop at Star Wars Celebration. Like, when he came out, they're like, Filoni, get it. And people were going nuts. And he was just taking it in stride. But there's only he can't be in every place the entire time. And he's working on Ahsoka right now. So, but I don't know. I feel like he said Deborah Chow, he felt like it's in better hands. I feel like, hot take, I mean, Obi-Wan and Anakin right now are being handled better than Boba Fett, because Boba Fett, they went for an attempt to change who the character was, and they went through like a redemption arc, and I think that almost needs a season 2 to play out for what they were trying to accomplish. But for what they're trying to accomplish with these characters, I think so far Obi-Wan, and other than being a little bit too broken, and that could be redeemed, so far these characters are being protected.
Yes.
I think so. I know we've been going a little bit, Wayne, but I gotta ask you on this. Where do you see this going? Like, how would you like this to go? Book the end of Obi Wan Kenobi. You're one of the best bookers that we've known. You're the one that carried our tag team for booking the angles. So book the end of Obi Wan Kenobi for us.
I feel he has to find his strength and his will to fight, to reconcile with where he ends up. I think that he's got to be hounded, and they'll chase him, across the galaxy. Now he's got to go on another rescue mission. I think that he will find some kind of help from some Jedi source or somebody from the past. But I think in the end he has to, I'm not sure if he has to be the one to confront Reva, which her arc would be lost and empty if she has no confrontation with him. But I agree with you. I think that there has to be one more confrontation, because you have to honor the 2 out of 3 falls match. You have to have one more confrontation with Vader, and he has to have a strong showing but slip away and return Leia to Alderaan and then resume protecting Luke. It's kind of obvious where it has to go. It's hard to book it any other way because you already know how it ends up.
Yeah.
But I think there's important points along the way that has to be honored, and we have to find Obi-Wan in the end. He has to have got his mojo back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He has to shape the character who we know he becomes, like you said, in Rebels and then eventually in New Hope, for sure.
A baby always has to get their comeback. He didn't get a shine in the beginning of the match.
He did not.
He never got a shine. But and he's taking the heat right now. He's got to make a comeback. You can have a few false finishes along the way, but he's got to make a comeback, and he has to. I don't think anybody would accept if the baby doesn't go over in the end and have some strength. I don't think he'll defeat Vader outright, but I don't think he can get away from Vader with his tail tucked, and there's any semblance of joy in the end of this series.
Yeah, there has to be hope at the end of this series, right? Because the next part of this story is A New Hope, so they have to at least be prepped for hope. So Mario, how do you, before we'll end it on this, how do you want to book the finish?
How am I going to book the end of Obi Wan Kenobi?
Yeah, the 6. There's only 6, so we only got 3 left. How do we book it?
We're going to get definitely another lightsaber battle between Obi Wan and Vader. I think we'll get to see Luke, a little more of Luke. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what is her name? Moses Ingram, her character.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see her Reba. She'll turn babyface.
Oh yeah, I could see.
Oh, nice.
I can see a babyface turn for her, right? Because maybe that's why she killed the Grand Inquisitor. Maybe she has her redemption arc. That would be cool. What if she?
That's a good call right there, Mario.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. How they get her away from the Inquisitors?
Like maybe she ends up sacrificing herself because she realizes, maybe the will of the Force. And she realizes that she has to. What if she's been hunting Obi-Wan the whole time, and now she basically gives her life to make sure that the will of the Force goes through? That would be a good call, Mario. I'm not even going to try to top that because I think that's good. A Reva babyface turn would be very cool.
There.
Could she her own spinoff with the Inquisitors hunting her?
Oh man. Now we're booking the territory. We're booking the Tatooine territory.
That's it.
We just came up with a few new series. We got the What Happened to Mace Windu, and now, Reva on the run. That's what you call it, Reva on the run, and get the Inquisitors going after her. That would be cool because Ahsoka has proven, and Wayne, we talked about this before. We didn't know how it was going to happen because there's like, whoa, we never saw Ahsoka in the original trilogy, so how we? But she proved that it doesn't matter. She survived past the original trilogy. We're never even being mentioned. And now we're going to see where that led. So these characters can branch off into way different stories and just get the rich storytelling, which we always knew that Star Wars could be, not only could be, but was, with the books and the comic books. So I'm ready. I'm ready for more Obi-Wan though, man. I'm ready. Let's do this. All right, Wayne, we're right at that hour mark, man. So thank you so much for showing now the rest of the world knows that you are the human Wikipedia, and your Star Wars opinion means something because again, I remember Mario, funny story. I went to see Independence Day on opening day with Wayne, and all I saw was the lines around the building. I was like, man, I have not seen lines around the building for a movie since, Empire Strikes Back. It's like, maybe this can be the next Empire Strikes Back. And that's when Wayne was just like, whoa, wait a minute. No. And then told me, just like, but the rich story is like, there's no way. And I was like, oh man, I didn't know what Wikipedia was, but that's what it was, because he schooled me. I'm just like, the rich history of Star Wars that I didn't even know existed to this day. And now we're getting it on the Plus series. So Wayne, thank you for sharing that.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I had a good time. Thanks.
All right, brother. Appreciate
See you later,
it, man.
Wayne.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon,
later.
man. Yeah, maybe we'll bring
All
you
right.
back for the finale. For the finale party.
That sounds great.
That'd be good.
Let's do it. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, brother.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Later. See ya. Bye. You wanna? So we're at 2.5 hours, and I just got 2 texts that said MJF cut one of the 10 best promos ever in pro wrestling.
That's what I'm seeing. He just cut his pipe bomb.
So I don't know. I don't know if we want to
So
BRB and watch that, or we want to just.
Well, we I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know that my thing will play back immediately.
Oh, I got you.
It's like recording live.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so we wouldn't be able to do that. Well, let's just do a quick then BRB, and let's get our bearings before we say goodbye.
All right, let's do that.
Hi, I'm John Vito. After I get done smashing pumpkins, I'm usually ready for a beer. Stroh's beer. Ah. Whoa, that's living.
Stroh's beer, proudly brewed in Detroit Rock City. You gotta lose your mind in Detroit Rock City.
I don't know what was going on at that point at Stroh's marketing. They weren't all gems.
What the hell was that? That was so good. Yeah, Stroh's, call us. If that's where we're aiming, we can get you there and more. So yeah, man, we've been going 2.5 hours. I think we're gonna get ready to call it. I mean, we were gonna talk about Top Gun Maverick, but you haven't watched it, so it'd be probably good if you see it. I enjoyed it. I'm ready to actually check it out again. It was filled with all the remember berries. So yeah, you ready to call it? Oh wait, we do have one important topic we're going to talk about.
Aliens are real?
The answer is yes. Okay, that's a wrap.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.